During a tense battle with the dragons, the team member urged Eliza to flee quickly, assuring that Alex would be able to protect everyone, and the protagonist asked him to hand over everything he needed for the battle. The loud cries and warnings were not frightened by Alex. He looked like a child, but in his eyes read confidence and peace. Alex's magical charge attaches the dragon and wins. The strength of his third rank is amazed at all. No one expected it, but the boy's abilities are really striking. After death, the soul fell into the world of reincarnations, where the gods and angels decided its further fate in a just court. The reincarnation judge decided in what kind of soul a new life would begin. The angel girl with a notepad sadly said that the man received an F level and would become a flea, though it is suitable for him as a killer, and a mysterious voice warned you should not trust everything. The soul began to question the angel if he agreed to become a simple person, but the angel denied sharply. But the judge decided and ordered the angels to immediately give him the sacred water of purification. The angel thought for a long time what a new life of the soul would be like. She used to be an emperor, but now she had to become a simple D class with a modest status, and the soul made this decision without hesitation by receiving her new number. When the angel looked at the map carefully and saw 3 S's, she was a lot of surprise. She could not believe she saw. The good deeds of this soul were struck by even experienced angels who were surprised by her destiny and considered her a true angel on earth. Although the soul itself considered her life ordinary, 2 unique opportunities were opened: to become God and the angel, or to remain the highest being. But the soul wanted to remain a person, despite the persistent beliefs of the angel. Suddenly, the fear of the girl. Toro refused to become God, and he did not even imagine that he would never be able to understand the true essence and depth of divine existence. The opportunity to live for a second time gives you a chance to feel even brighter. So the angel, having admired an unusual man with 3 rankings S, suggested that he pass through the created magical circle of reincarnation. The soul confidently approached the funnel, thanked the angel for his support, and the girl stopped him to say something important before parting. The excitement of whether humanity remains after transformation into 3S level did not leave, but thoughts did not stop the movement, and the stream absorbed more. A pleasant warmth and gentle aroma was wrapped, and when his eyes opened, a man stood next to him and told him that he was his son. Soft embrace is accompanied by the words, "Now your name Alex, Alexander Carlyle, and you are intended to become the next heir to the Duchy of Carlisle." The woman received praise for his careful work and answered her thanks, and a man born in the Dusical family dreamed of the bride with talents and wanted to know the emperor, although he still doubted his own happiness. A moment of reflection, and it is unknown why the memories of the past life remained in your head, and how to proceed in such a strange situation was completely unclear. The angel, showing a bottle of holy water, tried to stop it, awakening the memories, and then the understanding that the decision was hasty, because she was not allowed to make her own choice. The meeting with Alex gave Alex a true admiration and feeling of renewal, which made it born into a 3S rank family. Thanks to the 3S family, Alex grew up quickly and without obstacles. 6-year-old Alex looked out the window in good weather, and the maid greeted the boy with a good morning and wondered if he needed help, for which he warmly thanked her for his care. The hero informed his father about his visit to warn him about the meeting, which was surprised by the maid, because the etiquette should be done by the lower position. The surprise swept away from how smart was Mr. Alex, and Amelia proudly watched his success and decided to tell the master about it, sincerely congratulating the boy and hearing the request to keep peace. The girl confidently said that she could rely on her and promised that she would never marry. Alex was impressed by her character, and suddenly a peer came to him and warmly greeted with a good morning. A warm greeting and a reminder of the magic lesson set the girl a little nervous, but as the daughter of Baron and related to the hero, she decided to make every effort to support Mr. Alex. It was different before, and now children have been 6 years old. The magic lesson began with teachers' attempts to determine the magical properties of the characters by changes in water after their actions. The light motion of the wand, and a small water grass grows nearby, which surprised everyone. And the teacher praised Angie for a unique result, and suggested Alex too. Having spread his hands wide, the hero checked whether the magic wand was needed, and made sure that the memories remained with him. And when he came to the water and focused, a bright light suddenly flashed around. The teacher did not leave the teacher, because he could not imagine where literally all the water went. Seeing Alex's unusual magic, Angie turned to the teacher for explanation, and he, amazed by the event, decided to give the guy a large boulder as a reward. Seeing a huge stone for training, The mother was surprised by Alex's determination, and the teacher explained, "Such a stone is more stable than water and is best suited to check magic." The hero was glad to support his parents. The excited parents insisted on seeing the abilities of her son. Angie was gladly supported, and the guy was convinced that he was still in the trial, touched the stone. The bright light filled the room when the stone began to dissolve, and the man was surprised that his magic was so strong that even the stone could not stand it. Thinking about alternative checks, the hero's dad suggested using gold, and this choice was surprised by everyone, because Alex confirmed that gold has the highest magical stability. The material was extremely flexible. The father decided to check it, and the teacher did not understand where Alex learned about this property. The hand was on the boy's shoulder, and his father proudly said that it was a merit Alex. Although this phrase had little explained, and everyone perceived it quite calmly, the teacher gave the hero the ingots of gold and suggested checking his hand again. Full of excitement, the young man quickly coped with weight and cautiously began to touch the ingots. The bright ingots immediately attracted the general attention, and the teacher, noticing the condition of Alex, excitedly asked if everything was fine with him and what happened to gold. Gold has disappeared in a moment. Even huge wealths are not able to stop the power of the 3 Sss-Rank. In Alex's room, she looked at the table on the table, and Alex noted her 2 beautiful pajamas, received gratitude, and boasted that he recently engaged in witchcraft. The search in the literature did not answer, because even large figures of history were unable to destroy gold. But the solution did not change. It is time to perform the plan, and Angie saw a stone. When the magic touched the stone, he lit up and rolled, and in a moment he turned to gold. The girl looked in surprise, and Alex, squeezing gold, emphasized the importance of controlling the man. The gold lay on the table and immediately became a stone, after which Alex convinced everyone to remain silent about this dangerous experiment. Squeezing his fists, the girl promised to keep the secret, and Alex smiled, thanked, and gently ran a hand on her head. It was believed that the only way to use magic for yourself was to act in a certain way. The mention of angels inspires not to leave attempts to help anyone who needs support, even if it is impossible to save the whole world. Earlier, weakness did not allow the full, but today the opportunity to change everything for the better. Squeezing the stone, the hero imagined how the old dream could save humanity, and the girl did not suspect anything. The hero clenched the stone in 2 hands. The space suddenly filled the sharp squeak and the blinding light, and Andy, involuntarily closing her eyes, saw the stone crackled. The heat in his hands grows, so it immediately focuses because lost control will turn this magic into a threat. The drug was exhausted to his knees, and it was very concerned about Engi. Alex approached the hero and asked if all was well. The hero held on, though he lost a lot of strength, and Engi decided to find out what it was for a stone and why he was important, while Alex was just guessing. The unusual miracle from God helped save all people. In the hands of Alex was a legendary philosophical stone that every magician dreamed of him. An unusual stone struck the girl with his beauty, like jewelry, like sweets. Alex explained that this is a rare artifact, which is almost impossible, but Angie believed in her strength. In the hands of a young man, a magical stone lit up brightly, as if promising to open all the mysteries of the world, although he himself doubted whether it was really possible. The sheet on the table prompted the hero to write quickly, and a girl who was passionate about therapeutic magic waited with interest when he gave her a detailed history and influences of this magic. Alex noted in surprise how quickly thoughts are born, and realized even more power is needed for true skill, because the supervision is stored special books, but his magic is ready to overcome any difficulties. Carlisle on Moloch Angie Street, and the hero strolled when the seller offered them fresh sweets. The hero politely thanked and asked if he had enough money to buy. The children heard a compliment about their appearance, and they whispered about gold that disappeared without a trace. Lord Carlisle proudly told about his extraordinary magical properties. The tension between the rebels and the defenders of Habai lasted, but the presence of Alex gave people peace. After the brutal reign of the former emperor, the uprising broke out, and the new power had to hide the emperor. Meanwhile, in Carlisle, where Alex was ruled, silence was stored, and the heroes who visited the store were gladly met by the hostess. The bird with long ears suddenly appeared and scared it. The enthusiasm of the bird forced the girl to exclaim that he is very sweet. Hearing her astonishment about the popularity of this species, the hero advised to look closely at him. The magical voice immediately attracted attention. The performance of the children's song did not leave anyone indifferent, and everyone stopped listening. After the speech, Angie bowed low, and the man applauded with delight and said that the singing was wonderful, while the girl wondered why the hero pushed her to go on stage. The bird cautiously finds the girl's palm, and the guy advises her to look carefully at the movements and adds that you can safely allow the bird to sit. The bird suddenly repeated the girl's song, copying her voice, then circling Angie, and the new buyer asked the seller to leave this bird, and he thanked Alex. Suddenly, a guy ran out of the hero's cloak in a cap, quickly pushed him and stole something important. On the move, the guy stated that he was dead, and reminded you to be more attentive to things. Quickly grabbed the certificate, and Angie wondered if everything was fine, and Alex assured that he was not injured and went to look for a thief. The magical energy overwhelmed the space when the order was given. The guy was tied in the cap. Fear was not only a thief. Alex, approaching the guy, warned him to avoid quarrels. The hero asked to return the certificate, explaining that only he has the right to use it. In the heads of the thief, the idea appeared. These people are too selfish and spoiled. They do not understand the experiences in a foreign country, where they have to steal for the sake of life. Alex saw only a refugee in him. Alex, who arrived from the south as a refugee, could not put up with the idea that the guy was not able to change his life, so he decided to persuade him to leave theft and take with him. When a thief with trembling hands tried to understand why he was brought here, Alex calmly advised to relax and cook even better tea together. Seeing the trembling of his hands, the hero asked to warm up the kettle and measure the tea, and when the leaves opened in hot water, stop. Alex emphasized that only the chosen servants know this method, and the thief was surprised, but silent. The story of the philosopher's stone surprised the young man so much that he barely believed, and the hero in the meantime explained, "Tea has cooled," and asked to prepare a new, fresh drink. Alex persistently pushed him to actions, regardless of difficulties. The thief was silently holding back emotions, and Angie rejoiced Alex's determination. While walking with Cage Bird, the girl noticed how quickly Alex learned a new one, and the guy confirmed her words, returned the certificate, and demonstrated good memory and obedience. The apology from the thief sounded uncertain. The consequences were manifested later, but the hero promised to return everything lost, and every day gained new allies on the way to power. The creation of magical spheres helped to better manage your own power, and the simultaneous use of 7 elements of magic has always impressed and fascinated. Angie's achievements have caused a sincere joy for Alex, and it added even more happiness to her. At 7 years, they dreamed of mastering magic through knowledge of philosophical stone. The ranks of 3s are able to control all the elements, although most people can only master a few. Once upon a time, the fire gave the hero, so he advises the girl to rest. But suddenly the father appears with the sword and proclaims the satellite that the enemies are no longer hiding. Instant reaction. A magical ball with a whistle hit the sword, melts the blade, the hot metal flows down, and it looks like Alex has understood the same way. The father explained that he acted for the sake of his son, and the fiery magic helped keep the fragments of the sword. The hero asked to no longer attack by surprise, because the defeat from his son would ruin his father's reputation. Thanks to the strongest magic in the world, Alex did not have equal, and his father worried about the defeat of his son before the Empress and guests, barely realizing how it would affect his reputation. Parental advice is to invite the Empress and show her her talents so that she can be convinced of his abilities. The idea of showing the Empress has seized him, especially when he learned of her future visit. So Alex was glad, and his father suggested returning to lunch and praising his son for his good opinion. A couple of days ago, the hero asked Manga where they would go, and she suggested looking at the flowers in the western part of the garden. But as soon as they went down the stairs, Dad immediately exclaimed, "Don't move! The victims of the serial killer are 10, among them women and children. So the caring father has persistently forbade the family to go to the city today." The sudden fear forced her to grasp the hero firmly by the hand, stunned by the atmosphere and her fright. After agreeing with the girl's opinion, the hero learned from the announcement that the killer was hunted both alive and dead, after which he noted that time to act, but warned, the situation could be exacerbated. A walk in the night city in Macintosh is suddenly interrupted by a rustle behind, and in the mind of the hero, the fear of children who can be the victims of a ruthless killer. In this terrible moment, the man grabbed the boy, put a knife to his throat, and shouted that Alex was a delicious prey, and his crazy laughter was spreading around. Miller was surprised that the guy remained only in the cloak, but the knife disappeared. So the hero decided to stop this madness, because otherwise he would receive a severe punishment in the next life. The killer did not pay attention to the words and rushed to Alex, but he warned the enemy that he would hurt and asked to wait, although he realized he would not work. With one movement, Zero imposes a spell, and the attacker immediately fades, falling powerless. Assassin could not move, so Alex immediately used the binding spell. After a brief effect of the spell, Alex remained depressed until Angie with his dad came to him and asked if he was whole. And noticing a scratch, Alex replied that he was not alarming. Grabbing his son's hand by his hand, Daryl rejoiced that everything was well with him, and his father acknowledged his idea with the bait caused anxiety, but gave a wonderful result, and gratitude to his son became the best reward for him. After the arrest, the guards remained in place, sincerely thanking Mr. Alex for support and assistance. The conviction of a harsh punishment for this man did not leave the hero, and the prisoner quietly muttered something under his nose, wrapped in shackles. Despite the lack of help, the hero prayed sincerely for him, hoping that the next life would bring more light, and time in the other world could last forever. A new day brought peace to the city, and a wise old man from another world recognized Master Alex and gave him a 3rd rank. 3S. The city discussed how his efforts were caught by a serial killer, and everyone was sincerely thanked. But suddenly, a loud noise and a female voice, which demanded silence, came in the crowd. Beryl wanted more efforts than the guy usually gives, but he suggested just to enjoy the joint time. The light touch of his hand convinced that loneliness has been tormented by her for a long time, so the hero offered support, and Angie, without hesitation, grabbed him by the cloak. Together they would now overcome everything. The new moon was grabbed by the hand, offering not to be upset, but suddenly Alex strongly intervened and asked not to touch the girl. The surprise changed quickly, when the man strictly told the girl not to get into his own business, but then hit the hero, warning to be careful. Alex lifted a stone and then quickly dressed the handcuffs in the hands of the attacker, who immediately clapped. The incomprehensible weak spell almost did not work, and Alex cleverly escaped the enemy's blow and clenched his fists even more. The attacker fell on his knees, in surprise looking at his hands, which strongly and unwittingly squeezed. Magic handcuffs shrink more every time the hero does something bad and keep him until he gets rid of bad habits. Otherwise his wrists can break away. The amazed man heard the proposal to return a year later, when everything was earlier, and received a document that he was Alexander Carlyle, Duke of Carlisle. Calling the name, Pearl immediately noticed that people really believe in his magical abilities. Eliza thanked for his support, introduced herself, and noted that the guy was too annoying, and the hero, introducing her to Anzi, surprised magic instead of clicking security. In the case of repetition of such a case, it is necessary to contact the guard immediately, because she remained a mystery why he behaved in this way. Her shrill glance gave wisdom, because it would be easier for the guards to give someone to the guards, but then he would no longer be able to do good, and a just judgment of a person happens only after death, the guy explained. Laurel himself survived how posthumous actions affect the future of life, so he knew that the chance of updating is all. But some never change. Even the tiny hope for their changes was, because the main thing was not to condemn, but to show the right path. Eliza hinted that excessive integrity rarely benefits, and the hero understood it, and she was comfortable in his chair, although she did not see anything wrong in honesty. Eliza confessed that she liked this man, and if they were of the same age, she would fall in love. Thank you for your attention and what were with us during your viewing. The sad sigh and remark of the extremely beautiful eyes of the girl, which you rarely see in this city, found the full consent of the hero. Even at the age of 16, she listened carefully and thought in an adult. In the deep eyes, the woman seemed to be a difficult secret, and then Angie thought inadvertently whether she could once get closer to this power and become so confident. Hazel beauty really was striking, but most of the hero fascinated by Angie's sincerity, and noticing it, the girl smiled warmly. The doors were already open, and on the doorstep of the children waited a butler and welcomed them to the house. As the door opened, the hero flew a great sword with a shrill whistle, and his voice declared the end. But the hero quickly created a magical whirlwind that exploded with great power. Assessing a fully molten sword, his father proudly asked to show him, smiled, and stated that he always believed in his son's strength, although Alex did not understand his father's behavior. Once upon a time, his father planned to invite the emperors to them and asked not to tell that she had already arrived. The female voice confidently noted that the son fully justifies good glory, and if he was in her family, he would become a great ruler. Empress Elizabeth S. Forsyth, who was previously assisted, appeared to Lord Alexander Carlyle with a request to provide her with one service. The impressions were overwhelmed by Angie and Hero when they learned that Alice was an empress, and Alexander Carlyle worshipped and introduced himself, receiving a smiling request to raise his head. Lord Carlila was asked to allocate a conversation room, because the young man had already imposed the magic of sound insulation, and Eliza, having agreed, wanted to go faster to the case, avoiding unnecessary formalities. The heroes have long guessed the uprising that began through the cruel reign of the last emperor. After the death of the emperor, the country did not subscribe. The outbreaks of resistance were spreading, and the future imperial army was preparing to attack the insurgent fortress, and Alice sought to stop the war, eliminating their leader. It was at this moment that it became clear why Alice turned to him. The impressive abilities allowed to seize the leader of the attack instantly, and the hero's confidence suggested that he would easily cope with this task. Alexei understood everything, and Eliza explained. If he fulfilled the task, these lands would become him, because his father wanted it. But the guy noticed that he was more important to him from the queen. The reward for Alex seemed too generous, but the queen insisted. Such a reward corresponded to the importance of the case, and now she was sure that the uprising was no longer threatening this earth. Of particular interest on her part was unnoticed for the hero, so he never understood her true intentions. The day of the attack came, and it became clear that the battle had already begun. It is time to see what Alex is capable of. The guy did not deny, and Eliza confessed that he was very worried. The father often praised her son, and she was eagerly waiting for him to handle. There was a tension between them, but the guy firmly decided, the main thing now to catch the leader. Eliza's confidence in the verdict was almost no doubt, but she asked Alex to grab the hero alive and hoped that he would avoid ill-advised actions, following a thorough plan. Kai gathered in his palm a magical sphere of the earth, declaring his intention, and then resolutely sank on his knees and put his energy directly into the soil. The surprise covers her. The look closely monitors what is happening. It is difficult to believe the eyes. The ladder, made by Alex, opened the path underground, so he suggested that everyone go down. While Eliza surprised the opportunity to get around the enemy underground moves, Alex confidently explained that he knew the road, because all such structures were similar, and in the next room it became clear. They were almost in place. Someone spoke in the room, and when they came to the door, Alex asked Elise not to approach close, and she whispered that she had already heard that voice earlier, before Lord Fleming, the beliefs that their time had come, because the troops showed themselves brilliantly, but it was still necessary to give the team to retreat. Having realized the danger, the commander promised to do everything he needed, so that the troops may prosecute the enemy and not be lost, even if there was a suspicion of conspiracy. One interlocutor said he was already aware of it and demanded that the soldiers diligently fulfill their duties. The second smile agreed, because this time the conspiracy was really created for murder, why Her Majesty could not believe. They decided to act on the plan, and the man insisted that all responsibility was entrusted to him. The quiet whisper to the Eliza about the movement in the desired direction did not dispel her doubt that there may be a traitor among her. And when the door opened, both men were immediately protected by surprise. The thoughts of what these children were busy did not rest, so he asked how they got here, and both were surprised that the ladies were able to listen to their conversation. Earl asked Lord Fleming with perseverance to explain all the events, and Alex realized that after the war he had appropriated money, writing them out under the guise of payments for the dead, and now justified himself with a lack of choice. The swords flashed in their hands, and the men strongly rushed to Her Majesty, sincerely asking for an attack, full of intention to make her silence forever. Alex strongly stood before the girl and insisted that she retreat, trying to stop her and others from further actions. The rapid movement of the hand forced the opponents to suddenly lose strength in the legs, and they stopped without realizing what happened. He said they would not be able to move for the rest of the day. She did not know such magic. So she apologized to Lord Fleming, expressed his compassion, and on behalf of Empress Elizabeth Forsyth, announced their deprivation of all the titles. On the street, the girl said that her assistant was powerful, and sincerely thanked the hero. Some believed that they helped them to get into the elite of the Imperial Army, but the girl understood that her softness opened new ways, and the hero's advice pushed to move forward. With a smile, Heiss acknowledged the time to help the wounded soldier and start treating his wounds. On the one hand, it is important to accurately calculate the cost of war, and on the other, the girl leaned closer and looked carefully at him. Something was wrong, which hinted at the rapid heartbeat of the Eliza and anxious anticipation of the hero. The hero's view no longer expressed his obedience, but glowed with determination and his own power. It made him quickly turn away and cough quietly. The capital of the empire met the heroes, and on the threshold, Gorzinho appeared, the famous general of the army. Alex Carlyle introduced the general with his bride Angelica Silva, warning that their company will live for some time. After the hero's appeal, Angelica was awakened, bent respectfully and sincerely rejoiced in acquaintance. New acquaintances learned that the traitors had already been caught, and the main character was invited to the Empress for the award, settling at the hospitable house of Sir Horace and promising to help in need. Nearby asked how the situation was perceived. The hero decided that it was about alcohol, and confessed to himself that he did not mind spending the evening behind a glass in a pleasant company. The gentle hugs changed the invitation to join, and the little lady with a smile allowed her girlfriend to take away, waving her hand and wishing her good evening. The general shared with the company that he had a wonderful wife, and this news was very pleased with Alex. The gorgeous dining table, where friends often gathered, invited the guest and asked the maid to bring the drinks, to which the girl bowed quietly and left. Taking a pinch of salt, Alex noted that this evening would become special. The general was surprised, but agreed that the combination with the salt was wonderful. He struck Alex, and with a smile, noted their rapid trust. The touch of a painful shoulder reminded Alex as he drank alcohol with salt, always full of strength and gained glory under the name of the Grey Horse. The belief remained unchanged. The father would definitely become close, because the general clearly described the situation, and everyone respected him, as well as the general, who also distinguished him among others. With surprise, the hero heard that the man was called his brother, and then felt his hands on his shoulders. The stranger suddenly came too close. Only after getting acquainted, the general suddenly proposes Alex to become a name brother, and if not, promises to give one of his granddaughters for his wife. The girls, when they hear this, have fun to discuss the son of Lord Carlyle. The general offered everyone to sit down and celebrate their vows, but Alex cancelled the celebration and noticed with relief that his father had not come. One guest was more than enough. The room was filled with the singing of Aji when the steps were suddenly heard. She thought that Alex had returned, but another woman appeared in the door and said gently that she had not heard this baby song for a long time. Suddenly, a woman appeared, greeted Angie and apologized for her suddenness, suggested communicating without unnecessary formalities, but Angie still called her Her Majesty Eliza. The girl already knew that Alex did not come, and instructed Gorson to detain him because she wanted to see Angie, who in the meantime sat on the sofa and wondered what Eliza could help. Angie's look made without words that they were created for each other, and the girl happily accepted it, because she loved him sincerely. She did not leave Lisa confidence. She firmly decided to go further. Lisa's thoughts were about how Angie would perceive the news of another girl who likes the hero. But surprisingly, this news was sincerely pleased. The girl's answer remained unclear, but the thought of friendship with her attracted Eliza, because then it would be possible to ask Alex and hear new interesting details. Each new detail about him forced Angie to fall in love even more, because she was certain. Together they were waiting for bright adventures. The words sounded so unexpectedly that Isa silently rose from his chair and turned away. Elise sincerely thanked Angie for the conversation, asked to keep her presence in mystery, especially from Alex, because he prepares a surprise for him, and he was sure that he would like him. Angie thought it could be. In the majestic hall of the royal palace, Lord Carlyle met with the Empress, who congratulated him with sincere warmth. It was a great good luck to find a traitor. So the Empress allowed you to choose any award, asking what he wanted most. Alex, with his hand on the heart, solemnly reported, the Empress can always pick up as much as he wanted, and Alex only dreamed of returning to the soldiers, but it would seem impolite, and he also supported this opinion. Going off the throne, the Queen decided to turn to Lord Carlyle. Solemnly getting up, he announced his official appointment to the post of Vice Smopor. The news about the appointment of Carlyle's son, Vice Imperator, immediately caused hot disputes. The decision of the Empress surprised everyone, and the general showed special interest in the situation. For the prosperity of the Empire and the Empress Alex, they wanted to entrust the role of the main assistant, so that he could solve his abilities as much as possible. The unexpected turn changed everything, but the experience and achievements helped to make this decision with pride, because perhaps this is the true opportunities. The surroundings of the residents of Gorsian were interested in listening to how the hero asked Sir Gorsian about a bunch of letters in front of him, and it turned out that it was an invitation to the feasts and offers of engagement from the Vice. The general realized that the guy perceived the words not, and became convinced that his letters became more. The hero did not expect such, but Elise assured that he wanted peace and well-being for the Empire. Creating a strong order and stability after the chaos of the previous emperor became the main goal that she set. To implement the plan, she needed devoted people with wisdom and good heart, and the hero immediately felt that she was counting on him. The magical power of philosophical stone helped Alex to justify trust and be a worthy partner for her as the Emperor's governor. Kugro tried to clarify the words of Elise, but she denied that she had not said anything, and the Empress reached out to him, looking for support. Without any doubt, the hero decided to help her at a difficult time. The answer caused the real joy to Carol. She sincerely thanked for her support. The general emphasized that only the one who wins him in the duel will be able to see the hero. Alexei doubted that someone would decide, and the maid was worried about whether it would not be too difficult. Having received a new position, Eliza immediately instructed him to become a senior master at the Magical Academy. The magic of soldiers and officers studied here, and monsters for real battles were wandered next. This fortress was also a shelter for the imperial family in case of threat, the last line of defense. Once upon a time, Eliza just had to appear with Alex on important events to support her status, and in these situations she fully trusted him, realizing that he would do everything properly. The Magical Academy met Alexa as a vice inspector, and the director, having introduced himself to Kendrid, personally congratulated him. Having introduced himself and thanking for the invitation, the hero received a sincere warm reception as an honorary master, and Alex, going to the mentors, suddenly came across his leg on an unexpected obstacle. The magic barrier stood on the way, reliable and strong, but Alex used the splitting spell, and the protection immediately broke into small debris, allowing it to move further. The magical barrier of the school broke up into pieces. The director looked in surprise, and the hero apologized and promised to quickly restore protection, making him even stronger. The impenetrable barrier quickly covered the academy, Alex warned. Now none of the dubious intentions will pass, and the director with colleagues was surprised to discuss how the hero was able to create protection, having a contradictory reputation. The barrier built several people, and even they were surprised that the obstacle could reveal hidden intentions. The hero realized that it was a trial so that opponents would learn more about him. The director apologized to the vice inspector, explaining that everyone was amazed at his force. He exceeded the expectations, so the hero decided to ask him a question. Her Majesty made him the chief master of the Imperial Detachment, and he immediately presented the written proof of his skills, so that he quickly received this important position. The manager plans to ask Alexa to assist with the organization of practical classes at the academy. The invitation was surprised, because his magic was truly impressive, and the students would be happy to study with such a master, and the management hoped that it would attract more newcomers to the academy. After thinking through the words of the director, Alexei agrees with him and decides to accept the proposal, because more magicians will make the country stronger and help the police. The problem arose from Alexei's home and the academy, but after careful reflection, the director was convinced that the hero would have the opportunity to use this magic. The problem was solved. The director thanked the young man and said that everything depends on him. The reflections of the Empress on the success of Alex in the academy were interrupted when someone suddenly turned to her. Suddenly, Alex, a real character who experimented with teleportation and appeared from the air before the girl's eyes. The magic of flight no longer aroused anxiety. Everything happened successfully, and the memories of the actions of the Eliza suggested the right path to the hero. The stunned Empress heard the hero sincerely apologized, but already returned to the case, and the girl quietly told herself that she had nothing against him. The Empress assured that she was always glad to see the guest, and the hero thanked her and began to get ready for departure. In a moment, the figure disappears, and Eliza remains one. And in the residence of the general, a mess prevails. He cannot disassemble the endless flow of letters that are constantly arriving. The outside world was not at all as Max imagined. The fortress kept everyone alert. The mentor trusted the vice-employer, but Max himself did not decide what kind of magic he did. The desire of the director is to teach her grandson and help her become better, while the young visitor watched the girl on the bench, trying to find out who she is. The gaze stopped on a glass of water on a bench, and an attempt to influence it magic began. Suddenly falling behind, the man scared the girl, noticing that she did not work. Surprised by the sharp appearance of the boy, the girl asked the director who it was, and found out that before her vice-imperator Alexander, their mentor. She was amazed, and Alexander politely congratulated her and noted magic. The 10-year-old year was carefully trained, dreaming of revitalizing the water, but the liquid did not change, and the director did not hesitate without hesitation that she had no magical abilities. Lowering her eyes, Meryl confessed that she could not cope because she considers herself hopeless. But her efforts for her father's sake were really incredible. Everyone was surprised by such an unusual unseen, and the hero noticed a strange ring on her finger. The director encouraged the boy to tell the truth while the mysterious aura circled around, and Alex guessed the essence of the event. The lips touched the rings. The act of Alexa was so surprised by Xiaomi that she was just stunned. The instant jump back was not suspected of a cunning maneuver, which was already preparing the vice employer. Pure streams of magical energy suddenly twisted around the girl, and this clearly struck the manager. The real magical gift of the girl was manifested when the hero removed from her a ring associated with her heart, and magic began to flow freely. The magic force was still blocked, but when the hero suggested to repeat the exercise, the director agreed, hoping that this time other teachers would definitely notice it. Kiro fed water and asked her condition, doubted her because of the fear of failure, but Alex convinced her experience to trust and promised that this time everything would work out. Listening to the words, Xiaomi confidently reached for a glass of water. Closing her eyes, the girl tried the second time to control the water, and she stopped immediately. The joy of success filled the heroine. The director quickly guessed the use of ice magic, and the girl asked someone to check the fruits of her work. The changes reached the river, which eventually frozen and covered with ice. The girl was surprised when it was possible to perform the impossible. The hero told the director that her magic is so powerful that it was impossible for ordinary people to see her. The director praised the event and asked to continue to help the students. The hero promised not to stop, and the girl, with a grateful smile and tears, thanked for his support and believed in her own success. The next day, with the help of teleportation magic, the guy was nearby and suddenly saw in front of him a majestic temple of Drakonovsky. Noticing that Eliza had fallen on his knees, the man immediately called her. Everyone began to discuss her return near the girl, but suddenly learned that Eliza was holding a ritual in the castle. She assured that she did not interfere, and told about the guardian of the empire, who once gave her power, the majestic statue of the legendary dragon, which was revered for the protection of the city, stood over everyone. Once a dragon defender conveyed his power to the emperor and disappeared, and later became a legend. The empress prayed to him in the temple, because once the dragon turned into a statue and really existed. The flicker in his pocket immediately attracted the attention of the Elisa, and when the guy got a philosophical stone, he noticed how he reacts to the statue. At this point, Alex heard a voice with a mole about salvation and felt anxiety, which may have caused everything. The dragon asks him to free him from Stone's skin, and the hero stops Eliza and asks to leave. The girl is confused, but the hero is confidently taken to awaken the dragon as if he knows what to do. The unattainable task frightened everyone, but the hero confidently ordered the dragon to wake up. The mighty dragon in the glow of magic stunned the characters, and the girl could not believe that she was standing next to the majestic defender of the dragons. The paws and body slowly began to move, and in a moment, all the creatures had already come to life. The dragon's gaze immediately fell on two people. He suspected that they woke him up. Eliza, a little ashamed, wished that the dragon would protect her, and looked at the real liberator in surprise. The dragon was called a catastrophe that had the importance of heavenly czar, and Eliza also informed her name, and the hero, introducing himself, heard from the dragon that was his descendant and therefore could release him. The hero suggested to thank the elect, but he was confused and noted that it was easy. Although he did not explain why the dragon turned to him as a chosen one, the dragon himself turned into a stone and waited patiently, believing that one day it was the elect would remove the spell from him. Suddenly, Eliza realized that the dragon only wanted the healing of his wounds, so he was waiting for the chosen one, although the hero still could not understand why the dragon became a stone and so long suffered loneliness. With the ability to predict the future, having been injured, escapes from the army of thousands of soldiers who pursue it. A powerful blow almost killed the dragon, so Alex quickly cured him, and the rescued creature sincerely promised to thank for help. The most powerful spell on the basis of philosophical stone has already obeyed him, and now this magic is able to win even a dragon. The resistance seemed strong, but thanks to its own magic and rank 3s, there was a confidence that all obstacles would be overcome. The dragon felt the magic made his body incredibly light, and in the meantime, Alex could not stand the tension and fell on the floor. Eliza was worried, but the hero assured, everything is well with him, just magic could end. Although Eliza did not believe that ordinary magic affected the dragon insisted that it was possible, and hoped for the help of the stronger. The dragon seemed to be able to recover himself, but in reality it was impossible. The healing forces disappeared completely. Even simple healing spells were no longer exposed to him, Geralt's smile testified that he understood everything. Such force could only hurt the owner, and the dragon suddenly asked the person permission to ask. The dragon wanted to talk to him alone, thinking that God before him. But even he himself doubted the God, because it was extremely difficult to treat this creature. The confession of the choice of the human path was surprised by the dragon, who saw in Alexei of the true elected, and the confused Eliza only watched until the dragon decided to give life to the one who saved it. The proposal of the dragon to become Alex with the master caused a genuine surprise to Eliza. The despair engulfed the heroes when their greatness rejected their majesty, and only the thought of the help of the dragon gave hope. And Lisa, surprised that the powerful defender was able to listen to someone. Piero agreed to the proposal of Calamity. So now Alex will be new with a new ally of the adventures of Alex, and will become even more interesting. Near the residence of the general, when the woman was collecting flowers, suddenly someone took her. A real dragon comes home with Alex, and this unexpected appearance is stunning the girl. The surprise made the question of the origin of the hero, and soon the general also showed interest in the unusual creature that Alex brought home. The dragon disaster appeared to be a defender of the empire. Alex introduced it to Angie and Sir Corsian, and the impressive dragon's match emphasized the friendly atmosphere of acquaintance. He saw how the young man tamed the dragon, struck everyone around. The general remembered his younger brother and thought that it would be a little thing, and Andy thought where the guy would find a large enough house for the beast. Remembering his father's permission, Felix instructed Calamici to fly to the residence of Carlyle, and the general assured that in the event of his father's refusal, the hero would always be able to stay here, which caused her gratitude to Calmatus. The sudden wingspan of the dragon lifted the storm and carried it into the sky directly towards the inhabitants of Carlisle. Studying the documents, his father noticed the problem, and suddenly heard his voice, and saw his son with surprise. He smiled gently, and reminded that they had not communicated for a long time. A dragon suddenly appeared before his father's eyes, and it caused him amaze and confusion. The news that Lloyd became a vice imperative after the dragon taming struck his father even more when the son solemnly announced his new title. The unearthly glow filled everything around. God reported that he knew about everything in advance and expected the actions of Her Majesty, and the hero, meanwhile, felt the warmth of the house and understood how his father worried. After recognizing the truth, his father told his son good news. Because of good weather this year, a record harvest is expected, and it would seem that everything happens as best as possible. An extremely generous harvest has led to excess. Prices fell, farmers remained with nothing, and Carlyle thought about the extreme event, to destroy part of the products and buy the remains. Buying would not solve the issue of storage. Both premises and an experienced team were needed, so it became clear that without finding space and people could not do, and he began to look for a way out of the situation. The stone assured that the decision exists, and the hero made a challenge without hesitation and stood on the path of danger. The hero appeals to the dragon to give a claw, and he immediately agrees. Without hesitation, he will break away one claw. Dragons were famous for powerful magic, and each part of their body had unique and valuable properties. There was a bag on the table, and his father asked with interest he was. Alex explained that he wanted to just look and take a bag from the table for a short time. At the same moment, the table disappeared completely, gently fitting in a bag that the hero was tightly squeezed in his hand. Thanks to the power of the hero and the dragon's claw, the magic basket became very capacious, and the food inside was preserved fresh. The option was to buy all the excess, to keep it in the bag and to use it later, and the father easily agreed with this idea. The father asked Alex to return the desk, and he agreed. Carlos had to send a letter about the purchase of the crop, and Alex thanked the dragon for his help, though the situation seemed easy. The letter talked about Alex's brilliant decision and invited him to share his opinion and join the discussion. The harvest holiday planned to make special for Alex to honor her son, and even Calamity noticed that his father's mood is always joyful and inspired. Alexa has already passed a lot of time. Alex chose the theme of the next lecture, having carefully writing it down, and Angie, passionate about the efforts of a friend, noted good weather and offered a walk in the garden. The idea was immediately liked, because they both have 9. The increase in the number of students in the academy was comforted by teachers, because the students studied diligently, and Angie also wanted to listen to Alex's lectures. The girl studied at home and achieved good results thanks to a philosophical stone that helped lectures. But Angie has already begun to think about it. He watched with delight how confident and spectacular during the class, and the hero answered a soft smile. The invitation to visit the next lecture at first seemed incredible, but he insisted on his decision. The dragon was convinced that Lady Angelic should be happy, but her face was the opposite. The hero decided to hide it from his father, and the girl wondered the reasons for such a secret. Alex was convinced that in this situation, Angie would surely join, and she really agreed. The dragon of the disaster was fun and agreed with enthusiasm, and the father of the Kuros, focused on work, suddenly sneezed. The management of the parent estate in the village of Renetra on the lands of Carlisle has become the current business for the hero. To the touch, the land was extremely fertile. Thanks to the efforts of the farmer and the support of the count, the peasants saved money, making a wedding, but unexpectedly heard, trouble is already on the doorstep. The farmer ran to man and announced the approach of the locust, adding that Silva had already been injured. Kiro recalled that Angie's family lives in Silva, and in the meantime, the locust was approaching, and the danger grew every minute. By clarification, the hero understands the locust that destroyed the crop and forests was like a real monster. She attacked suddenly, ate everything, and it was impossible to stop it. The situation became clear, and a confident promise came to think about further actions. When the farmers asked for help, the hero reassured them and said to hide, because the locust was dangerous. Then he went to the monster, and the locust was noticed Alex and roared. Snin told Alex that the monster did not respond to magic or blows, and the uncontrolled locust would destroy everything around. So the hero got a bag of disaster cogue and aimed it directly at the monster. The bag immediately tightened the creature inside, leaving her no chance to escape. Finally, the success. The locust himself climbed into the bag, and the hero managed to close it in time, so while the bag is sealed, the creature will remain inside and will not be able to escape. People from all over the village coincided to Alex to find out about the monster. But everything was decided. Alex was in a way of his own, without any magic, which was surprised even by the farmer. The celebration began immediately, because it was such a triumph that was expected from Lord Alex. His victory saved the Rene, although other lands were still in trouble. A month after the event, his father invited Alex to the office where Angie was already waiting for him with a smile. Angie's father greeted Alex and sincerely thanked for the help after the plot invasion. And the vice-emperor modestly noted that this is a commonplace and always had enough resources to support others. The actions of the future vice-inspector confirmed his nobility, and Angie's father proudly imagined how they would enjoy the peace of mind next to such a man for his daughter. It is strange why such a decent man still does not have Earth. The mother believes that her son is too early, and her disagreement has even influenced the decision to take the land from his father. Then Angie's father offered cooperation. Each ruler stays with his land, and Alex will become an honorary representative and head a new union called Alexander Alliance. The idea of Alex immediately received his father's approval, who called the idea great. The hero noticed that the idea is ambitious, but could glorify Alex and enhance their influence. Adding a writer to the name was offered by the father. The idea was liked by everyone, especially Angie, who looked very happily. The announcement of the union between the Carlishes and Silva sounded for Calmidi, after which the document for approval was handed over to the dragon, which was to convey it to its majesty. The document just found himself in his hands as the dragon returned and reported the task, surprised by God with lightning efficiency. Isaac said her proposal was heard and she confirms it. This decision really seemed correct to him, because the union would not create problems and help to strengthen the authority of the vice-imperative. But the Empress agreed on only one condition. Monroe regularly reported to her, and she wondered Alex if she managed to agree. Watching the events, the hero agreed, because life at the level of 3Es was becoming more interesting. Usually the rank in the next life depended on the past, and the world lived according to this rule. The angel asked Miling Huan whether everything was well, heard the confirmation and left her a choice of a new family. One of the angels asked the girl to wait, reminding of KH, and convinced again to look at all 9 lives carefully and check the table. Without temptation, she received the last verdict from the angel. The trial has been thoroughly. Angels have already calculated all her past life, and now everything indicates that the next will be at the highest S level. The idea came to live among many people, and the angels supported this dream. They promised that only decent people would be nearby, and each letter met with joyful words. How beautiful! Having extended the bottle, the angel cheerily promised that the first sip would forget the old memories, and another life would begin. Then she wished her happiness, and called Angelica Silva. During the lecture at the academy, the hero immediately noticed that the magical power was too weak here. Magic sounded a special rhythm and repetitiveness, and students supported the ideas of the teacher. They are convinced that when they feel their rhythm, they would reveal the true power of magic. A handful of magic flies into the dummy. He flashes immediately. Surprised students see a new flame force, the graduates prepare the control technique, and the student smiles, feeling her abilities grow. Sincere thanks to the hero made a director for an interesting lecture and skill. He promised to try this method too. Thanks to him was not interested in him, but the attention was attracted by the director who was going to say that graduates often dream of working in the palace, army, or nobles. It turns out that the director wanted to find out if Alex would be able to accept several graduates on the work, because the hero had his own territories and could create new jobs. Alexander, founded by his father, did not leave their proposal. Alliance Alexander, founded this year under the protection of the vice employers, and his ability to teach others surprised everyone. For a long time, he decided to invite one student, and the director said that Alex was very generous. He announced all of it and entrusted the case of the director, after which the general called the younger brother. Alex's vacancy caused a real hype. Almost 500 students have submitted their applications. 200 people have already passed the exams and abandoned graduation. More than 500 want to enter the academy. The general with delight says to his brother, who only ridiculously shrugs his shoulders, not imagining how to choose someone. It's time to test magical skills simply in the academy's yard. Having learned the method of Mupada, Xiaomei still doubted himself. But the confident voice of the hero assured, now everything is done correctly, and he would never say lies. 2 years ago, acquaintance with Xiaomi inspired Alex to teach her, noticing great potential. And now she studies hard, dreaming of becoming in demand, and students sincerely thank their mentor. There were some difficulties in the hostel, which have already been reported. The impressions are overwhelmed, because the Xiaomi room became an ice palace, and a new acquaintance immediately introduced himself as a Patrick, responding to her curiosity. After apology for experiments with a magic device, an unexpected explosion led to a disaster, and the device had to convey Alex, because ordinary magic did not help here. The idea that Alex was able to melt this ice surprised Patrick, but given his talents, it seemed quite possible, so he decided to act quickly and find a way out of the situation. The consequences of improper use of the magic device remained a mystery, so Alex decided to turn to pure unmanaged magic. The magical device fell sharply on the door, and the eyes immediately scattered on the debris, and Patrick was shocked that it was a sign of eternal freezing. In response to clarification, the hero asked Patrick to explain what he meant. Patrick wanted to put Alex in place, so he ordered him to remove weeds in his punishment, and the director, although he understood that the cold would not disappear, he was looking for a way to humiliate the boy. During the conversation, Alex was summoned. Xiaomi decided to try eternal freezing like Patrick, but the director explained that it was an unusual magic, and doubted whether someone was still capable of it, although the hero believed in her strength. Xiaomi was ordered to follow without stops, and the girl remained in full concentration. The Mappa method became a real find. After his first acquaintance with him, the heroine has confidence in his own abilities, so Alex decided to support her enthusiasm even more. The magic of the rice tightly wrapped the door handle, and the confidence appeared that the idea was finally succeeded. The fire was not able to melt the ice on the ribbon, but Xiaoma was happy about her achievement, and the hero praised her sincerely, saying that she was the strongest witch at school. Warm words of gratitude came from students who are already waiting for a new lecture, and the teacher for farewell promised to meet them soon. The look at the house has given the confidence that things are getting better. Soon more work would become, and suddenly the noise was drawn. A girl did something nearby. The girl looked worried, so the young man decided to find out if she was fine. Daryl noted Her Majesty that she had exaggerated a little with emotions. Charles Fayette, the teacher of the academy, apologized, but leaning behind the arrows, scattered them on the ground again. The hero gathered worn arrows, advised the girl to relax, and decided to leave everything as is. But if they are not restored today, they can break next time. Alex plans to repair everything, but the girl stops him and says that she has heard about his magic. After repairing things become fascinated, and then it is difficult for students to use them. Assured that everything will remain as it is, the man took the crossbow and asked the girl with her well-being. Charles noticed how the magic of the earth was applied, and Alex quickly pulled the bow and accurately released the arrow directly into the target. The hero was interested in the arrow, and Alex explained that he made it from the ground and wanted to create a whole series. He also asked if the girl likes this idea. She likes it, but thinks that over time things will become unnecessary, and the man promises to continue to be careful. Alex's training has significantly increased the level of students, and during the show he asked the queen what her opinion about the success of the team. The report was accurate. The comments did not arise. Everything was prepared quickly and efficiently, Stunned by the act of Lord Alexander, Eliza thanked him sincerely, and in response she heard that her kindness was simply impressive. Sincere gratitude became the best reward for him, and her surprise and his gentle smile added special content to this moment. There was no hope for reciprocity, but he performed his duties carefully and without complaints. It turns out that he also had a bride, and it is unclear why she suddenly talked about it, because Jacila Silva was indeed the oldest daughter of a baron. Lauren's daughter was not considered the best choice for the vice-employer, and she would be very helpful if the Empress officially called her younger sister. The words were not quite understandable, so Its Majesty explained that it would soon become part of the imperial family. Feeling gratitude, Alex thought it was worth asking her opinion, and Eliza smiled gently in response, hoping for his support. In the imagination of Angie, he easily becomes an imperial princess. This role is very much. A pleasant surprise was caused by the Empress, who immediately after the report was in a hurry to know his affairs personally. A clear report from the director convinced her to check everything in detail, and the decision to send him became correct, and she suddenly wanted to teach even adult soldiers. Seeing how students were training, she decided to create her own academy in a hero, similar to the Magical Academy. The hero acknowledges that the case will be very difficult, but Alice was certain. He willingly agreed to her proposal. Squeezing his fist, the guy promised to fulfill the request, and the girl thanked sincerely when a strange magic suddenly enveloped both. When Siomaya covered the roses with crystal ice, the Empress watched the Empress, and Alex, holding the frozen flower, understood. She mastered the art of freezing forever. The smile appeared on the face because the success attributed to itself, and the Empress asked to wait a few seconds. Xiao suddenly starred, and Alice became angry with the appearance of a new girl. No thought has taken away that someone in the walls of this school was using the eternal freezing force. The sudden requirement to go to the palace immediately and skip the lessons completely knocked down the Xiaomi from the Pantalik. She could not understand what had happened. An innocent look and confession. She just wanted to stay with Alex. The excitement swept the whole body, and she barely held back the trembling. The Empress understood the true cause and asked to forget her words, while Alex remained in full misunderstanding of the situation. The Majesty Eliza assured that all is well. Success has been in the past life, and now she studies with Alex and asks to try his best, to which the girl immediately agrees. The issue seemed to be closed, and suddenly the loud explosion was heard near the training dungeon, and the hero explained the cause of the event. The students approached the students to find out what happened. The students told that they learned magic and wanted to check their strength, so they went down in a deeper dungeon, where the monster suddenly crawled out of the darkness. Majesty warned of special danger and ordered urgently to call the Imperial Guard, and Alex noted that it was time to leave the place immediately. An unusual shadow emerged from the darkness, and suddenly a man with 6 black wings appeared in front of the hero. In his gaze read anger because a person was still alive. It was a demon. Alex introduced himself and asked the cause of the attack, and the demon, which was called Azazel, explained that his nature was destruction. After liberation, the hero thanked his rescuers ironically, and in gratitude he decided to destroy everything around. Alex cleverly retreated from the blow and warned that the Death Court himself would decide the fate if he did not stop everything. But the demon only smiled because he believed in his eternal rebirth. The existence brings a demon unbearable pain that you want to disappear, and almost all thoughts are only reduced to it, because pain is the only thing that is constantly reminiscent of itself. The forces from above made him who he is, and will only become a demon again, will gladly bring back his power. Alex felt despair because he does not remember the past at all. To protect against suffering, the hero with the help of magic is a philosophical stone. The blow on the demon made Alex think. If it is a test from God, one cannot be allowed to suffer the enemy. But at once the whole body was treated, and he retreated. Carefully lifting the shoulders of the hero, Majetti asks whether all is well, and in response he hears a sincere thank you for not let him fall. Naomi was worried, but the hero said that everything is well with him, just the baby's body is weak. Eliza suspected that he had destroyed him, but he strongly denied it. The bright light went through the body of the demon, and suddenly the pain disappeared. The magic of the hero turned him into an angel, and he looked in surprise in his hands, not believing the feeling. The changes inside were to feel calm. The pain retreated, and the power of the hero remained. Although the demon pleaded not to call himself God, he was still only a man with great power. The awareness of the demon has not changed anything, because it was Alex henceforth that saved him. The demon suddenly addressed him as a brother, and asked for permission to serve the one whose life he saved. All this had to be a benchmark for further decisions. Although there was a lot of doubts, ideas were spinning in their heads, and a stranger was confused and did not know what to say. But suddenly a plan was born that did not want to lose. The honorary senior master of the academy introduced himself to Azazel. The demon emphasized that this attitude was inherent in his brother, because the place served as a fortress and demanded responsible defense. The demon's eyes shined when he realized that Alex was asking for the service, and in response promised to thank, because the idea to use the fortress under the protection of an angel seems to him very successful. The guy demanded that a pact be concluded between him and Alice. The unexpected proposal to defend the girl was struck by the hero. But he honestly said about his desire, and the angel, convinced of his sincerity, confidently gave consent. After the hero's explanation, it became clear that the union creates a magical connection that can make it close to it, regardless of distance. Lisa thanked the heroes sincerely and said she could always rely on their help. The brother heard that he could now count even more and did not deny. The news from the angel surprised, raised doubts whether the angels have true knowledge for such sentences. General on the Karliloff estate told the father of the hero that he personally saw the angel and is ready to swear, because he is confident in his words. The idea of this already arose in the mind of the father, but to imagine that his son could be curved, even if he came like an angel, seemed impossible. The students' skills have become noticeably better, because it was under the guidance of Alex that they trained and gained new knowledge. With passion, discussing the main character, the company did not restrain emotions again, and Angie added that he really likes them very much. The praise was well-deserved. General said that Angie's knowledge inspired him to create a powerful barrier and take care of the angel, so that the vice imperative became worthy of respect, and the girl was embarrassed and blushed. The general and father of the hero stopped opposite each other and lifted glasses for his brother. Alcohol became enough, and the general announced, "It is time to start the special tradition they repeat every 4 years. Alexei Cup has finally started. The tournament, which his father organized for his own glory, promised the winner a generous award, and the hero could not but be surprised by the event. The father is convinced that this year's event will be better than 4 years ago, and hopes that the son will play the best, and the protagonist will manifest himself during the award." Alex realized that his father had already chosen this year's award. If they were given the land earlier, it was now necessary to think about a different way of handing the prize. According to the general, during the tournament it is impossible to be stingy, and the main prize had to choose the winner, and give him his brother to give the award to the boy with a bottle. The bottle as a gift was perceived only as a trifle, even when they gave it with curiosity, whether such a souvenir would like. The general, together with his father, immediately covered the boy with questions, and Alex felt the sharp smell of alcohol at the same moment. The proposal came. If a girl wins, Alex will be a reward for her. The support of the father added confidence, for the nobleman was considered the usual mother of a concubine, and Alex agreed with the idea of NG and did not object to her plan. From the moment of engagement with Alexis, her happy life, filled with joy, began, and it seemed that even dreams could not convey the depth of this feeling. Everyone seemed to be so sincerely works for Alex, exactly a good person. Sometimes even the idea was that she was choosing the best helpers for him, and how good it would come to the rescue. The events may have happened differently if the guy won. The embarrassment caused a blush on her cheeks, the apology made sincerely, and leaving the room she asked the hero to wait a little. Together with Angie, a servant was surprised by an unexpected challenge. The introduction of the award, a seal of approval from Alex, would make the winner's harvest popular and valuable, and the renaming of fields in her honor considers the hero a successful idea. A new prize is also offered. As soon as the maid was released, everyone went behind Alex, because he reported that he had a wonderful idea. It's time for experiments. Mana was used in an unexpected way. The charming walls were shimmering, Angie asked them in surprise, and Alex explained that it was a magical room, and suggested entering. Touching, her hand easily passed through the wall. The spacious room struck it, and the serviceman did not even notice how she found herself inside. The magic of space allowed you to do whatever you wanted without thinking about obstacles, and Angie confessed that she had not seen it. The grandeur of the event made the heart stab, and the space seemed able to accommodate any catastrophe, and that's how Alex Salma confidently added this significant trophy. The prize was promised immediately, and when they announced the reward, the number of participants increased by hundreds this time, compared to the previous tournament. The permanent employment of the owner did not prevent the hero from coming to the village of Kaysen, on the border of the Duchy of Carlisle, where due to bad weather, there were delays in taxes, and together with the inhabitants he decided to help magic on the field. Sitting low to the ground, he started working immediately without spending time. Angie assured her hands on his shoulders. The greenhouse works perfectly, spatial spells operate, and she grows her roses in a garden greenhouse. Sincere thanks to the village, because thanks to the hero, people were able not to worry about greenhouses that would not be built due to the cold and lack of money this year. The village residents thanked the hero and asked how to thank, and Alex, instead, asked the farmer to get up and not lean before him. After resolving all the questions, Alex asked him to show him other crops to take care of them immediately. Fomer is happy to lead the guest to other greenhouses, showing everything around. The apology that was nearby forced Alex to return. These were people from Miller. The former neighboring village now belongs to Count Miller, who became famous for his incendiary character. On his knees, people sincerely begged Alex to accept them in Alexander's army. People told the legends about amazing miracles, a magic bag and a greenhouse. But when the trouble covered the village, the indifferent Count did not help. So the residents decided to go under the protection of Carlyle. After her question about further plans, the hero realized that it would be not easy to join the new territory, but people, having experienced suffering, put their hope on him. Alex promised to ask his lord a little time, and people sincerely thanked him, because he had long wanted to help them get up and become stronger. It was not possible to return home, and it is impossible to give up the crop, so he asked the local farmer if the vegetables were spoiled here for fertilizer. But with the advent of greenhouses, there was no need for greenhouses. The ransom could significantly improve the situation. The exchange between residences was easy, although the hero could no longer get into another's territory so much. So he instructed people to the farmer. With faith in the hero, everyone is sure that both villages will be safe. Alexa's office opened, and Wade reported the guest. Thinking that it may have been a father, the husband politely apologized for late and went into the room. In the far corner, a man with a terrible scar sat. It is certain that this child is the governor of the Queen. Alex was politely introduced to Earl of Miller, but he immediately warned not to climb into his territory. Albert Miller was considered a brutal warrior, who hesitated without hesitation with everyone, and when he was about to take revenge on the hero, he felt an alarming aura, and Earl shouted that he would not allow the child to stop him. The attacker tried to injure the hero, but he cleverly evaded and repelled the blows, noticed something sticking to the Count and immediately decided to remove it. With one movement, he attacks the graph with magic, overthrowing it on the floor and thinks where everything went. Raising and rubbing the back of the head, the graph noted the boy's agility and surprise, and when Alex asked his state of health, the Earl noticed that even the old headache had finally disappeared. According to the physicist, the graph completely disappeared the desire to drink blood. The graph was surprised where the hero knew everything, and Alex suddenly realized that he had been imprisoned. The insecurity of the Earl forced the details, but the young man was certain. The headache was caused by this, and the unusual aura only emphasized his peculiarity. The hero urged the Count not to worry. The Count easily patting on the back of thanks, because the guy immediately understood the situation and helped to solve the problem. It was this special feature immediately showed his true essence. With a light smile, the Earl confessed to the hero's interest and suggested talking about the exchange of territories, and the old man approved it, putting his hands on his shoulders and calling the idea wonderful. Details of the report on the hero's desire to enter the alliance caused in Her Majesty and Eliza sincere admiration. Because everything happened exactly as Alex dreamed, another loyal friend joined his ranks. Arriving at Miller's estate, the hero noticed a decline and replied to the Count that in such conditions the crop was not waiting, and the fields looked launched as if they were left unattended for a long time. The obvious situation. The Earl intentionally incited quarrels for the prey, and when the new moon called it a robbery, the Earl just smiled and allowed him to interpret his actions as you want. After annexation, Miller received many requests for help, including from this village. But if the village does not pay tax, it will have to look for another way out. To force what is not exposed, in vain, how it is impossible to squeeze a dry cloth. But the hero saw himself. The power remained honest, despite its external restraint. I wanted to find out what the baby plans to do, and Alexei said that he would easily remove, if it was all, but the peasant warned. A task is more difficult than just cleaning the land. After a recent storm, the inhabitants have almost no water left. The well broke, and people covered the feeling that there was no longer a worthy place to live in the city. In the case of Truth, Lord was to act quickly, but on the advice of the Count, he decided to restore the well without unnecessary damage to the old man. so with the help of magic, he undertook the repair of water supply. Suddenly, a strange, mysterious hum, which was heard, came from the depths of the well. Some of the attendees reached out to a strange hot fluid, but the guy warned that it could be poison, and suddenly the bone flowed out of the water, and then a terrible demonic girl appeared. Looking at her head, the woman screamed loudly, and a dark aura thickened around her body. Earl recognized the Astro Decay, the same one who had seen Miller in this house earlier. After the meeting, the headaches became even stronger, which meant the curse was imposed by the philosophical stone. But the mystery, who was actually Astaroth, remained undisclosed. The lightning idea arose to a demonic creature. The hero confidently asked her to impose herself on him. The magical column struck the girl's belly. She bent, the black essence escaped from her, and the body fell to the ground. The essence disappeared, and the guy carefully approached the girl who was unconscious. Predictably, the young man effortlessly lost the reason for the anger of the Count, explained that he did not kill her, and the girl in the meantime barely moved her fingers. The girl opened her eyes, got up and heard the question of Alex, whether she was well. But the pain remained, and she has not yet recognized herself. The surprised Earl heard Alex confidently says and explains that she is not an enemy, but a goddess of fertility, who gives life to fields. The story of the goddess struck the Count more than he expected, and once again convinced that this girl did not know the suffering at all. The girl confessed that she thanked the liberation from the dark magic hero, sincerely thanked and believed that no one else could remove the curse from her, which had to last for centuries. Alexei's mind immediately appeared about the demon. His torment is probably similar to those who persecute Azazel. Eternal suffering and endless circles even after rebirth. Interested in the name of the stranger, the girl learned that she was Alex, and soon he asked her to become her master. The graph struck the goddess Subit addressed the hero, and told that she wanted to thank the young man for his actions, leaning her head and talking confidently and sincerely. The girl's idea was clear. If Astral wants it, Alexei agrees and asks her to give her love, and in response, she should turn to him as her lord. A new familiar guy presented as a goddess of fertility, and his fiancée asked to treat her gently, and her beauty fascinated everyone. And on the question of Alex, she promised to make the land richer. The alliance had to give generous crops. This was the dream of Felix, and the girl confidently assured that it was easy if they allowed to build a temple for its worship in every village. She allowed to boldly start construction work, apologizing that she was involved in the case, although she had not yet fully recovered. The prudence in everything allowed him to think carefully about each step, and to prevent any coincidence. Sincerely thanking the goddess for his support, Alex was convinced that her strength was unbreakable. Alexei appealed to his father to obtain permission for the construction of temples, and his father agreed, after which the masters were sent immediately, and soon the sanctuary appeared in the villages, and the joy of the crops spread throughout the region. In the final of the second tournament, only Hosen herself and Mila herself met. The general was surprised by Lord's endurance, and in response he heard that he did not intend to retreat. The general emphasized that they could not despise those who serve. Hosen jokingly added that Miller was too small, and a friendly atmosphere between them was noticeable. Yulia reported that Duke Carlisle himself was watching the tournament. The competition began. Everyone was waiting for the winner. The father of the hero asked the right of the master to participate, and Angie was enthusiastically said that both wonderful. The hall barely had time to hear the challenge of the master, as the father of the hero had already rose and wanted to tell himself what the last event was called, and what it was. Alex said as his father said that the quiz would be Alexander, and he would be responsible for everything. The master took the megaphone and told everyone about the incredible deeds of Alex to emphasize their importance again and mark personally, making it solemn at the beginning of the tournament. The person with delight noted that she knew Alex himself well, that she made her even more interesting. The general emphasized that he was his birthday brother, and Hosen remembered that he had heard about this child and would not give way to Miller. The dispute broke up again. Amelia announced that a mistake means defeat. Smiling and with the first question learned what magic Alex would use at the beginning, reminding them of their friendship. The girl gathered all the papers, noted that the news about the rich harvest was quickly diverted, and Alex expressed his gratitude to the Astaroth for their efforts. She explained with a smile that she was just following the master's instructions. With the eyebrows, the guy heard from his father an explanation. In the harvests of the village of Goro is not surprising, although the crop there is 3 times greater than other villages of the same area. Reflections on inflation brought their father to the idea that the head of the village would soon be exposed. Alexei asked to wait because his name has recently spread fakes, and the letter could be part of these frauds. Someone wanted to cheer Alex, so his father insisted. The gift was worth watching. The meteorite with a carved name was a fake, so the old man was removed, but nothing has happened. Alex's authority increased so much that the situation could be dangerous, so the threat had to be stopped immediately until everything came out of control. Hearing the words of his father, the guy realized that he was too early. The whole field gave birth through the strength of the Astaroth, and the hero realized that every event made its sense. The decision to know the truth led him to the village of Goro. The magic of teleportation brought them from Astaroth to the charming village, where everyone rejoiced in a good harvest. There were no complaints, and the figures only confirmed success. Astaroth agreed with everything. No suspicion did not arise. The girl confessed that there was a single shelter in the entire area, and she remembered that he was built quite differently than the rest of the repositories. The statue was appeared in front of Alex next to the Astaroth, but he did not like such honor. The skillfully reproduced relationships between her and the owner were surprised, though he exaggerated a little. The man noticed, creativity gave the crop 3 times greater than expected. The peasants, seeing the emperor and the goddess, quickly ran and bowed to them with great respect, which even embarrassed the hero. It was at the end of the harvest when new cultures began to sow. Alex appeared in the queen's palace after her call, where Eliza told him of an urgent task and handed over an important document. It became clear that the uprising began, and Eliza emphasized his incredible abilities. The hero immediately realized what message she wanted to convey. Alex understood that it was necessary to act immediately, because Eliza had the same fears. Everyone considered the candidacy of the best warrior Kosenchok, though it was not quite so, because the uprising became the largest in its majesty, and the empire was forced to give a decisive response. Alex became their unexpected advantage, so she wanted to find out if he could accomplish the task, and the hero suggested taking all responsibility. It is a promise of its highness to do everything that is in power, and at least give a smile. Confidently walking with the soldiers, the hero went to the rebel staff. It turned out that the 7th alcalde of this fort was in front of them. It was not worried about him, but the question of the Elisa, why she decided to wear a dress of the maid. Despite the strict ban on interfering before the start of the battle, the ruler decided to see everything in person with her own eyes. The dream of being near Alex remained in his heart, but the hero did not notice it. The girl quietly answered that she did not say anything. In search of ways to suppress the uprising, Alex paid less attention to this, because the territory protected the magic barrier. And in the meantime, Eliza was preparing to show him a map with magic. He persistently insisted on watching numbers and argued that he would be overthrown according to a clear numerical scheme. But such magic brought many difficulties. Weiser approved this approach, because mysterious magic used once every 100 years remained unclear, and the philosophical stone caused doubts because no one was injured even during the attacks. It seemed that the man suspected something because he advised to look at the place, but Alex insisted at the stop, suddenly opened the door, and quickly jumped out of the wagon. Fight magic enters the fort and causes a powerful explosion. Alice with the soldiers came out of the wagon and was surprised. The fort was covered only by a protective barrier for people. The fort itself remained open to the attack, as the characters explained to her. The barrier gives the impression that protects only humans, because other creatures do not affect. So in the case of blasting, the fort will be able to survive. The scene is amazed. The actress does not believe what he saw and calls it a delusional. The hero emphasizes that magic here is difficult even without security, and Alex suddenly asks her to look at something important. Men who did not understand what had happened and where their equipment disappeared near the fort. A sharp cry escaped from his mouth. The cheeks were immediately blurred, and his face was hidden in his palms. It was at that moment that magic was only working in the fort, as the hero warned. Dre showed the direction and suggested that he move on. He was convinced that his method would agree for others, but Eliza realized that everything was more difficult than she thought, and felt her naivety. Despite the noise and shouts, the fortress was easy to take. The warriors reported the success and admiration of the commander, and the hero thanked them and asked if there were losses. No losses were recorded, and although the hero remained calm, the queen was surprised, because the battle with the rebels turned into a real test during the war. The loss of strength forced the girl to fall to the ground. She kept her head. And around everything around, the hero worked worried about his state of health and advised to return home immediately. The consequences of the former events were forced to act decisively. Alice entrusted Alex an important task, to neutralize the enemy general, and this trust by the queen was genuinely surprised by him. Not only shouts with the promise of revenge, but also clear evidence of well-designed steps were heard behind. Looking back, police saw the hero with the help of magic reflected the attack and quickly overthrow enemies. People quickly came up, sincerely apologized and heard a calm explanation of the hero that he was no longer an enemy, but a battle behind. The loud order forced the boy to execute the order, reminding that 100 years ago the emperor drove people to the far northern border. They were asked to remove the curse that does not return to the city of Zalan. The tribe lives in harmony with nature, but because of the curse does not stand the heat and is forced to stay in the north. Alex convinced everyone that the situation is under control and could safely return home. The curse became past. Zalant came under the power of Alex, and his magic no longer had restrictions. Eliza realized that they were still here, although the removal of the curse seemed incredible. The ridicule of the boy quickly changed as a surprise when Alex suddenly sent the flames directly towards the men, showing that the jokes were inappropriate here. The unexpected hot fire went through them, and it became clear. The former feelings returned. The solved problem filled the atmosphere with peace, and the warm smiles of the characters created a special kindness around. The surprised men were genuinely rejoiced in, thanked the representatives of the empire and bowed to them, and Alex was called their god. The strict look seemed to say that everything could happen that way. Alex suggested going to Zillan, but Eliza could not join because she had to return to the castle with a report. Overcoming the path to Zelan on the lands of the Alliance Alexandria, Alex, along with others, was convinced of the old man that this is the right place, although now it has changed significantly. It was here where the altar stood for their god. These people, after a long absence, again stepped on their native land, which many years ago erased from the face of the earth. The place where the souls of the ancestors rest was very important to them, so the hero clapped his palm and suggested returning everything to his place. The crowd did not believe that the hero would return the altar, because it would not return the past. But Alex advised everyone to watch and promised to restore everything as it was before. In 2 seconds, a large altar grew from the ground and stopped just before his eyes. The real surprise covered everyone when suddenly an exact copy of their altar appeared. People heard from Alex that the object was real because he seemed to get it with the help of space-time magic, but no one realized what was happening before them. The man claimed that he had returned him from the past, not created again. So the old man offered a ritual. He pierced his hand with a knife and gently drained blood on the stone slab. Voltaire Gloud and the old man were surprised that he was real. And at that moment, Mia Bella came behind, declared her readiness, and stood near the stone plant where blood was previously. Magic mixed blood and caused unexpected consequences. The amazing beauty of the surrounding captured everyone, and the old man told Mia that she was waiting here. Alex learns that the ritual is going on over the most beautiful daughter of the genus for generations. The beauty transmitted to the family from generation to generation has become a true symbol of their well-being, and the curses of the emperor were able to overcome thanks to the right that the hero understood to the end. The bright girl seemed to be the embodiment of purity and beauty, and the old man thanked the vice inspector, asking to accept sincere gratitude from both. He was pressed on him, forcing him to accept this treasure. Mia Bella. The real surprise made it open when all the truth became obvious. Bringing the girl home, the hero informs Angie, who has already arrived. Seeing an incredibly beautiful girl, the hobby instantly covered the heart. A real princess appeared in front of her eyes. Smiling, the woman introduced herself and said she would be with them today. She was pleased to meet Angelica, a real treasure of the tribe, and the hero understood that the refusal would offend their dignity. Alex agreed to help her, and the girl asked to convey to her family that she was safe. Although she turned to him as God, the hero arranged only his name, and it caused her indignation. In insisting on a significant difference in age with Mia Bella, the hero achieved her consent after short hesitation when she said quietly, "For Anya, it was the discovery that Alex was the god of Mia, and it was he who saved her tribe, and she already felt that a real character was in front of her. Make sure Alex is a god who returned to save everyone." The name that people called this engine did not surprise the girl, but Guy noticed that he became more and more like her father. Similar words were not the first time, but doubts about their truth did not leave him. The help was very appropriate, and Angie promised to come in the near future. The girl quickly retreated, and the guy gently took her hand and easily, like a bell, invited her gesture to move behind him. Cozy atmosphere, tea, cake, and talking on the couch when the angel says that the hero's parents are not at home, so dating is postponed. With each movement with a cup, there was a special sophistication, and his own appearance caused admiration in Nick. Kate gracefully went into the room, took a fork, cut the cake and served a piece of meiji, and the girls looked enthusiastically at the appetizing dessert without holding back saliva. It turned out that Mia actually loves cakes, though he denies it. A smile and a look immediately gave her true feelings. Trying to pretend that nothing happened, Bella accidentally contaminated the dress and jokingly confessed that she looks completely untidy now. Alex's awareness of her own appearance faced the objections of a girl who convinced her that it was only a misconception. The uncomfortable arrangement of the table led to the fact that a plate with a cake fell from her hands and left stains on her clothes and chest. The sadness appeared when she saw a cake that she almost made her cry. But the maid did not notice anything strange and brought another piece to clean the contaminated dress. It felt a light awkwardness of the girl when she apologized, and the maid hurried to wipe the floor and explained that the dress should be immediately attributed to the laundry room. The constant reminder of purity lost its meaning. Now everything around showed that the mind had finally left it. The light touch of Mia met with words of support, because the cake turned out to be delicious in appearance and caused a genuine admiration. The expensive dress raised in Mia doubts what to do next, but the hero promised to buy a new outfit. But the girl refused, and in the end, entrusted him the most valuable thing that she had. In the store, Alex found such a beautiful dress for her that the girl was pleasantly impressed and frustrated by this choice. For a while, Bella apologized for the delay and entered the room, and Angie struck her attractive appearance. A bright dress caused admiration. Angelic called it the embodiment of true beauty, Alex agreed, and Mia promised to take care of her and not give nothing more with this outfit. The hero suddenly grabs the cup and accidentally pours tea directly on the dress, as if checking her patience, and the girl does not understand what he conceived this weirdo. All the decorations suddenly disappeared, and the dress became clean and radiant again. A real miracle of magic. The impressions of what were remained the best. Everything was extremely good. With sincere joy, the peasants welcomed the hero when he invited me to show me picturesque surroundings, as the hostess insisted. And later Bella became interested in the majestic statue of the hero. Everyone wondered why Alex's statues appeared everywhere, and even the hero did not understand where so many of his monuments came from. It is rumored that the goddess of fertility Astorophy gave him his affection, so in many villages the statues were installed in his honor. Looking at the situation, it seemed like this was already in her imagination, but the hero hesitated whether it would give a good harvest, and Astorophy would hardly support such a proposal. The imagination drew joy on her face after this act. I could do so too. The friends wanted the sweet before leaving, and only the girl heard it, right away. The dream of a gorgeous apartment remained away when the opponent opened the portal with a smile and commanded, "As soon as the magical circle is stamped again, it is necessary to enter it immediately." Unexpectedly from the crowd came a loud request to stop and wait a little. The decisive young guys who confidently spoke of the impunity of their actions were immediately interested in Alex. He guessed that they were not ordinary peasants. The rebels did not believe that this daring man was killed by their friends, so they decided to throw him to the pigs. The feeling of inconvenience turned into a diligent indifference to the girl nearby. Although among friends there was an understanding of how attractive she is. With the sword in their hands, the boys approached the heroine, promising to deal with her later. But the girl stood before Alex and confidently said that she would protect him. The assurance of the absence of danger was calm. But at that moment the enemy stopped unexpectedly and looked around in a confusion. The attempt to come ended in failure. An impassable barrier created by a hero appeared ahead. To overcome the barrier, I had to break the two obstacles that he had set consistently. So until they were destroyed, access to Mia remained closed. Obviously, the special force acted, and the enemies immediately realized how smart Alex is. The arrow of the second attacker stuck in the direction of the hero, and he stated that he was wrong, and together they decided to first neutralize him. The arrow just flew from the bow, as Alex immediately put on handcuffs. The handcuffs were closed during the Ill-Advised Act. They have been in force for 3 years, but if a person stopped doing nonsense, they automatically opened. The situation was so that the rebels wanted to kill hostages, but the hero infused to leave them alive, demanding silence about the event, although it was their only way to make money. The confidence did not leave them. Aristocrats who looked from the high would not understand it. The wind instantly lifted it into the air, and the crowd found no trace. Suddenly, everyone disappeared, and after a moment they were already in another place. Alex explained that this land of Carlil was a little inhabited territory that he gave to the rebels, and this news struck everyone and left them without words. Alex emphasized that the development of this land would allow all needs, and promised to provide the necessary equipment and financial support for the first year. It was unexpectedly clear. The enemies sought not to kill, but to get into debt, because they just had little to own the earth. The trials that survived together forced Alex to understand the causes of her uprising, and the girl thought out how he would work now. Alex set the condition. If in 3 years they are not grasped and shackled in shackles, the land will remain them. But in the slightest guilt he will immediately take everything away and ask if they are satisfied with such rules. Although Alex was distrustful of Alex, he sought to give them a better future. Realizing that there would be no second chance, they decided that it was time to get their own land. The hero asked the question, and suddenly the asteroid emerged from the ground, which was incredibly impressed by Bella in the hospital. The girl appeared as if from the air, causing surprise and admiration. The striking difference in the crop between law-abiding and violators kept the Aster tense, although Mia recognized that it was only a display to awaken the conscience. Interested in the future actions of the young man after exposing the truth, the execution heard from the hero the advice to just wait and see everything himself. As soon as Alex becomes the emperor, the uprisings will no longer be. She made such a statement, but the hero did not understand what this woman meant. It is emphasized that Alex had every opportunity to become an emperor. The riots had to disappear, but Alex felt that not everything would be so easy to decide. Many watched his growing power, and the coronation could provoke a new war. In her heart, there was hope that Alice would be able to fulfill her dream and build a truly peaceful country. The general used the impact force to attack the girl directly under the protective barrier. General's face expressed surprise, and the girl opened her eyes sharply. She noticed that all their attacks were completely useless. The hero was surprised. The barrier stopped interfering with Mia, and it seemed miracle, because he knew only from legends, and Mia was a little aware that everything was thanks to Alex. It all looked not like Eliza imagined when she watched the barrier earlier. The Empress said that the operation was successful. The uprising was almost stopped, all thanks to Alex, who was sincerely delighted that he could help her. Angie's coronation opened her path to the status of Eliza's legitimate sister, and although they were only half seats, sincerity and harmony prevailed between them. The general wondered how many people were able to accommodate this barrier, and the hero said that the maximum of 7 and suggested that it be called Semizerkov. The reason remained unclear, because the general noted that the name lacks the words sun and law, but the hero did not bother it at all. A young man ran up to the gate and impatiently asked if Alexander was home. At the gate, Alexa's voice was heard, who wanted to report something urgently, so he was quickly invited inside, and together with Eliza, he was taken to the room where he kneel. Easy motion, and the hand is gentle to the Elisa, full of care and warmth. To find out the truth about rumors, they were tested in the laboratory. It turned out that the man really raised the uprising, and residents of several villages joined him. After worship, the young man sincerely turned to Alex, asking her help. It seemed at first that a stranger wanted to invite to the company, but the real goal was different. He demanded to stop the group because there were various rumors around the hero. The pleading became even stronger, because everyone sincerely believed that help would come from Alex. Hearing about the order for the vice-in-person to suppress the uprising, the general immediately fell, and Lord stressed that such a decision was unprecedented. The Empress sharply removed her hand, ashamed, and General with Lord waited with interest, which would surprise the hero further. During the uprising, the new moon assured everyone who could cope with the task and asked not to worry about him. When they collected like-minded people and the necessary stocks, they decided to act, and Alex quickly joined the team with the help of teleportation magic, preventing them from changing her mind. Outraged men did not recognize the true person of the boy and threatened him with punishment, but Alex quickly applied magic and managed to avoid danger. The sudden blow made the attackers jump back and fall to the ground. After presenting the vice-inspector, the man suggested that the rebels make their claims, if they did not like the authorities, and it was stunned by them, because they did not have time to navigate the situation. Life with inspiration was a better choice than a futile struggle, because the uprising was finally suppressed. Everyone in this world chose their own fate, because all the actions determined the future, which was what they called the other. The angel was waiting for the souls, including Sarah Borden. In this place, it was possible to review all the achievements of the past life and to decide what its further fate will be. Before her death, she gave all the resources for medicine for the front, rescuing more than 10,000 people. It seems that the soul was a little respected. The completion of the case made Sarah feel annoyed with his own powerlessness. But the angel assured that she would get an ES rank in a new life and also offered one idea. The question was whether Sarah was ready to accept the title of the Empress, because it would open up a new life before her. But the girl was indignant, feeling that she wanted to make her tools, and realized Everything would decide her choice. Piran remained the ruler until the advent of the successor who had to take away his power. The angel gave her a chance to become an empress and fulfill the long-standing dream of power. Sarah took up the case. The angel warned about a series of necessary procedures, and she appealed to the soul, advising to accept the new life of Elizabeth, which Sam spoke earlier. A leisurely walk in the city gives him a good mood and lightness in thoughts. Miabella and the hero tried the cake, and the girl apologized for her behavior, because the dessert was incredibly delicious. In the current situation, Alex suggested Belly to try her piece of cake. She was embarrassed because it was personal, and he noticed a precious smile on her lips. Magic filled the garden with amazing colors, but Me only quietly reminded. It is only training. It was when Alex wanted to share the secrets that a foreign replica suddenly sounded. They noticed on the street, interested, and wanted to find out how they had. The new dress of the Empress was immediately noticed, and from the approving words of Alexei she blushed, justified a little, but rejoiced a compliment, and agreed to sit next to him. Alex pushed a chair for convenience of the girl, but she suddenly lost balance, fell to the floor, and inadvertently showed her underwear. The sudden look of the hero in the opposite direction immediately fell into the eyes of Eliza, and Alex only emphasized how unexpectedly it happened. Eliza agreed that everything was under control, because it has long been accustomed to the help of a maid with clothes, and in the meantime, Bella asked the waiter to bring another cake. Thoughts about their own reaction were not rest, because even with a new life, excitement remained the same, and the heart was still crazy. Hearing the conversation about the control, Ice wanted to find out the details because it was very difficult to obtain the necessary force for them. India shared that Alex recently built an incredible stone slide 9 meters high in the garden, but all did not understand what the hill was talking about. It is unclear why Alex avoided strength or martial arts, because in his opinion, magic gives much more benefits. The desire to master fencing, along with magic, prompted the hero to rebuild the slide because he did not want to spoil anything, although it would take some time. Eliza, this idea seemed sweet. Smiling, he assured that Alex would cope quickly, because although young, he would be stronger daily and will soon be able to protect her even. Looking at Elise, the young man asked Lee, but she advised not to think too deep, hinting at the protection of the Empire. In response, the hero smiled and promised to accomplish this task. The water splashed around, and it was immediately interested in the girl. They decided to come closer, and passers-by gladly looked at the beauty of the ladies around the main character. The road remained long, so the man asked the girls to stay side by side, and they gladly plowed to him. The soft palms gently touched Felix's cheeks while two girls hugged with warm arms. Emotions push Eliza to become even closer, and the hero easily hides his head in her chest, finding peace and simple joy there as a child. Alexander Garden decorated the stone mountain. When he tried to cut her sword, the blade suddenly disappeared. Sadness swept, fell on the dirt, understanding. The sword brought up. Attempts to move as a legendary philosophical stone have taken away the last forces without bringing any results. The sword was easily bent against the opponent, so the Oricalione was sleeping immediately. But suddenly behind the appeal to his son-in-law, General Rosen appeared with the attractive young man. The new assistant general, Koro, became famous for the feats next to Alexander, and the confidence and skill of the young man with the sword was immediately impressed. The general wanted to always have such a defender nearby. The general noted that the son-in-law was training with the sword, and the young man confirmed his efforts. The Croche thought that the vice-imperative did not possess the sword, but it turned out to be false. Alex worked at the magic school and asked the hero to share new knowledge with him. Finally, he received his consent. Koro was lightning with his sword and strongly attacked Alex. The lightning attack caught surprise. The sword seemed futile, but managed to beat the blow with a regular handle that had already cooled after the cord. The sword broke unexpectedly, and the hero was confused, sincerely regretting that he did not use it. Although in fact, it was not the most important. The sword in the hands of Alex looked broken. That's what happened because of his magic. So the general laughed loudly, because it was what he was waiting for his son-in-law. The general searched for his son-in-law a special sword because ordinary weapons often broke, and made sure that the legendary, magical, or sacred sword was most appropriate. Although the sword had flaws, it was difficult to find it. The general believed that he was finding it easily, but Alex doubted. And it was at this point that Alex's father appeared, who expected such a course of events. Not suspecting anything, Alex froze with surprise when his father, along with the servant, brought a cart with a brilliant, skillfully made sword and offered to buy his son. The sword glittered, and a light breeze slid through his blade, giving the impression that he was alive. The legendary sword chose the owner himself, and only the chosen could use his strength. The general, fascinated by this secret, wanted to check his fate, carefully unfolding the shining blade. Grabbing the sword by his hand, he tried in vain to lift it. No attempt was possible. Alex showed his hand, looked at her carefully, and said that everything was fine, and Dad suggested trying again because the task was difficult. The words of men gave confidence. He decided to act and decisively took the sword. The sword was immediately in his hands, without effort, and a careful look quickly felt it from all sides. The bright light immediately made the father understand. Only Alex could control this, and the general thought of his son-in-law, and the hero saw the stone reacting to the sword, so he no longer doubted his holy origin. The Philosopher's Stone opened the story of the holy sword, and showed how to perform a masterful attempt for a powerful blow. The real look opened, and when the hero caught the blow in the air, the blade immediately crumbled. The sword's festive glow awakened the majestic warrior filled with divine force, who immediately met his eyes with the hero. He sincerely thanked his rescuer, and was happy to return to heaven. Hearing the question of his father, Alex said that God was imprisoned in his sword, whom he had been punished for sin, and could not be released for a long time, and now he was grateful and accepted Alex in his circle. Alex's confession of his humanity unexpectedly struck God. Fleed into the sky, the creature thanked the child for his freedom, and Alex asked his father for a broken sword, but on both the faces of both appeared as a surprise. Without the reliability of the old sword, I had to seek new weapons urgently. A spooky picture appeared in the village. A statue of Alexei, which was recently installed, was all eaten as if it had burst into worms. There was a problem in the village of Shuskif under the leadership of Laura. She came here with Mia because the residents encountered an unknown monster. The girl explained that she was holding a monstrous insect, which, despite its small size, struck the hero with her unexpected appearance. Unexpectedly, the beetle flew, and flying past Mia, touched the dress on her chest, pulling a piece of fabric. The girl said in confusion that she was a gift of Alex. Now her dress was spoiled. The cloak, which previously belonged to the other, was in the girl's hands, and when asked about my state of health, she thanked with a smile, and said that everything was well with her. A sudden attack caused an Anastress regret, because she realized a charming dress was created specifically for inexperienced Mia, which he had to save and restore all the time. Edwoman said that the cervical is feeding on magical energy to restore strength, so he absorbed the statue. Village fields, buildings, and people remained beyond his attention. Everything without magic was not interest, so there were no conflicts, but the stone statue of Alexander, consecrated by the goddess of Asterate, had a special meaning for him. The latter bag is no longer suitable, the woman said, because she was already eaten, handing it to this bag. It was necessary to get rid of this creature urgently, but when she rolled into the ball, she could no longer harm. Leto clung to Mejia, making it clear to the hero that the hunt is now going to him. The beetle rested in his hands, but Alex noticed Rivna's heartbeat and, asking Mia about her condition, decided to try to cope with the insect. The beetle flew in the air, and from the power of magic 0 creatures immediately exploded. Edmund and Mia's reflections were interspersed with the joy of old age, who was proud that he addressed Alex, but his life was taken only from someone else, and now the guy conceived a new plan. The new statue was moving much smoother, and one of the peasants asked Alex as a miracle. The statue began to devour insects, but the hero reassured the peasants, assured that everything was under control, and advised them to simply watch it. The beetle eaten a piece of statue enthusiastically when the sudden blow changed everything, and the events rolled again unpredictably. The magical power of the hero gathered in this statue, so even a small piece could overflow the body with energy and cause an explosion. And when the chief suggested to eat the statue together, Alex had already provided it. The statue, once again absorbed, suddenly shone and returned its original beauty. The new life returned. The hero breathed his strength as in Mia's dress, and promised that now he was not threatening anything. Turning to Alex Salma, the main mentor was genuinely happy with her decision, and he agreed with her. At that moment, she was interested in an insect circling in the air. The paws appeared in his paws, and the hero, not thinking about his meaning, guessed that he was probably drawn to the nest. It seems that the subject was brought to treat friends, but it was a fragment of a new statue, and Mia did not understand how he found himself here. The sudden explosion will destroy everyone at a moment when no one will expect it. As Maida predicted, the leader gladly thanked the hero for his help, promised to make a new bag per claw, and the reports were shown. The beetles were finally destroyed. The morning began with the warm words of the girl. Alex asked her sleep, She replied that the night was calm and invited him for a walk in good weather after studying a new spell. The heroine asked Alexa to look at the wand carefully and asked to show the one at the end of which the star was. But he could not understand what her mystery was. The magic behaves strangely, and the maid who called Alexa runs up and hardly explains what happened. The unusually quiet house did not have magic at all, which was very surprised by the hero. The screams of the Samum suddenly broke the silence. Alex Rusha rushed to the room, ordering Angja to return to himself, and then, rushing the door, asked hastily in Mej what happened. The crying girl in one underwear suddenly ran to the boy. Having realized her negligence, the girl shouted in surprise. Alex apologized and closed the door instantly, even wondering how unexpected everything happened. The father asked the hero to tell all over, because all the magicians lost his ability. Even the sick Calumet could not do anything, and the hero confidently confirmed that magic had really disappeared. The clothes created by the magic suddenly dissolved in the air, which became a real horror. For some reason, Alexei was able to use magic, but he could not fully use his forces, only half. The father tried to understand the cause of the strange phenomenon without stopping, and the hero himself remained in guesses. On the one hand, the energy weakened, which showed it was there that the source of the problem. Then the father announced that the search began, and called all the residents of the house. In the room, Wade said that a strange tree was found in the yard, and his father ordered this place to show the family. Near the big tree, the hero's gaze stopped. He considered him carefully. A flock of beetles suddenly rose at the root of the tree, forcing the heroes to watch this unusual sight. Alex explained that the beets take away all the power, so it is impossible to use it. Everything looked quite logical. The father expressed his opinion about the possibility of their destruction. The hero agreed, and noted that it is quite realistic. On the way became a black-eyed girl, similar to a man who called herself a queen of the pack, threatened to kill her family, and ordered the insects to attack. Alex promised her to repel. Alex spent half of the magic to stop the beetles' attack. Even the queen was surprised why the familiar method had failed. The hero explained, "One day the focus works, but the second time, not, because they became smarter." The queen confidently decided that magic no longer applies to enemies, so she quickly ordered the hero to attack them without hesitation. Desperate, the hero launched a powerful flash of fire directly into the queen. Fire waves covered the entire horde of insects, creating a striking fiery tornado. Sudden anger swept the disadvantage, because magic, although twice the weaker, continued to obey him. But to leave her the will to act independently. The plaque surprised people with Sss-Rank have not appeared here for a long time. And confident in his talent, he thought to him great success in his next life. Waking up, he wiped his eyes and felt that this dream had seen before. A real feeling of déjà vu. A few minutes later, an egg fell from the tree unexpectedly, and only then managed to catch it. The object was in the hands of the hero, at once recognized in the find the egg of the beetle, along with the Carlisle estate, the mountain stand, where he went to collect beetles. The colony escaped from destruction, and now there have been significant changes. It is dangerous to leave them unattended. Everything may not be planned, and the protagonist will have to intervene. In the farthest corner of the nest lay a large egg. Just what Alex was looking for. It was different from ordinary insect masonry, and had a special value. The philosophical stone lay quietly in the palms, and it was then that the final awareness of his own right came. The philosopher's stone explained that all the thorns are connected by invisible magic, and after the death of one generation becomes resistant to this danger, and among them, the new queen appears. The egg suddenly objected to the ground, although the guy had already decided to stop their race. A tiny insect appeared from a small egg that immediately attracted her eyes with her special kind. An insect appeared in front of her husband, not at all like his idea, and calmly asked in a human voice who he was. In silence, female words were heard. Guessing that a woman, the hero immediately invents her name, extends a magic stone and carefully asks whether such a dish will fit. Carefully sniffing at the stone, Son-san noticed his unusual, and the beetle immediately decided that it was a magical object. But he did not risk the stone, because the smell was reminiscent of poison. In search of at least crumbs of memories of the past life, memory seemed empty. Rotate her head to the side. She made it possible to understand everything, and it became clear. The memories remained with her, so then the hero could no longer allow them to develop. The man assured that he was just the ordinary stone he made in the morning, and explained that the stone has 3 basic properties, so you should not worry. The elixir of life and immortality gave complete freedom from starvation. So the idea of not feeling the need for food was lost to sleep. The guy sought to find out what reaction it would cause in a girl. Due to the strict rules of the colony, only one queen had the right to reproduce until she is alive. There would be no other, so he suggested that her try to become the main one. She slowly rose, came to the stone, and thought about eternity, when suddenly the stone lit up and filled it with bright light. An angel appeared in front of a small soul and suddenly asked if she wanted to become immortal. Because thanks to the rant S, she already had unique abilities and great opportunities. The dream filled the room with an angelic voice that said that in his past life, this child was truly good. After the stone lost power, the hero invited the beetle to visit his home. The immortal queen would stop the development of bits, but they did not understand it. The guy decided to tell his parents that he was just a pet. The name Peach immediately liked, and the hero was sure that the parents would be happy to accept it. When he suggested letting go, everything happened simply and easily as Alex expected. The thick bushes absorbed the silhouette, and the idea arose. The girl chose her own path again. She liked the garden, but her intentions remained unclear. The sword in the hands of the hero opened the way to new skills, because any other effort or blow could have previously caused the destruction of everything around. The idea of creating a magic sword has captured him, because it was still not believed that even Aura Calconi could have such power, and his bare hands are able to even more. Easy tingling near the leg reminded of a small insect, which attracted attention, and the gentle touch of the hero and the question of the cause ended with a gesture on a number of shiny crystals she carefully collected. The incredible energy that came from this couple forced Picon to notice that Alex was growing curiosity, although he could not describe his feelings in words. The insect was no longer looking for food, but acted in the old way, and Alex, holding the fragment, recognized metal with powerful magical energy in it. The new metal exceeded even orichalcum in its properties. Giratin suggested that he withdraw the sword with him. The material that exceeds even orichalcum immediately struck the punk with its exceptional strength and unique properties. The expressive eyes immediately seemed to her tasty, but the guy quickly asked not to look at it as if it were food. The material glowed as gold, but was better in properties. It was perfectly energy and had great opportunities for development. He asked if the chosen person could find something like. The club's views lingered on the heroes, after which they all rushed forward and began to sniff the ground carefully, as if they were looking for something important here. A small stone, similar to Mount Morrison, found himself in the girl's teeth, and the hero watched in confusion, not understanding her act, because no energy came from the stone. The crystal flew to the hero, and he managed to catch him, surprised that this crystal was given the hierarch specifically for him. Alex gladly hugged the insect, stroked gently and sincerely thanked for his help, adding wishes not to be tired. In 3 days, a large bunch of materials gathered. Alex thanked the beetle and praised him, but she asked not to be too fond of compliments. The Philosopher's Stone states that this amount of material can be forged a long sword, but at first the raw material should be melted. It is unclear why the events did not happen, so Alex used his fiery force. No attempt worked, and the hero used even more power. But suddenly philosophical stones began to be attracted to crystals. Finding a magical miracle, the young man realized that his spells during the creation of a philosophical stone caused such an unusual event. There was a double power that corresponds to the 3 ES level. The crystals were melted, turning into liquid, so that the desired result was achieved. Suddenly, Alex Dissar's thoughts appeared in the voice that promised support, and it was because of this that he felt the first echoes of philosophical stone. Suddenly, a shining sword appeared from the magical crystals, and Alex immediately took him. A sword of hyacinth and philosophical stone appeared, and just waking up, the peak rubs his eyes and assures that such a sword cannot be broken. The new weapon tried just outside the hero. The blade easily cut the leaf, and the magical blow was a real bomb. The charming sword, which Alex forged for himself, lay perfectly in his hands, and Lisa was enthusiastically watched how he confidently fought and rejoiced, because he finally found a Guican. Smiling, the Empress was surprised where this rare material came from, and decided that the hero had not yet revealed the whole power of the new sword. Eliza did not understand the words, so she gave him 2 letters that he could not distinguish. But later it turned out that Eliza was wrong, and Alex asked her to check it again. The leaf flew in half in a moment, and the hero added that he could also cut it. For years he has trained to control the force and quickly exercise the sword without letting it out of his hands. The real essence of the boy made Eliza turn back from surprise, and he immediately noticed in the girl changes and realized that something is unusual. Having thought, Alice confidently said that all is well, and the hero, thanks to this, received a new power. A sword of philosophical stone. 12-year-old friends walked when Angie saw a hole similar to the entrance to the cave, and turned to Alex, who confirmed that it could really be a cave. Responding to the complaints of the inhabitants, the detachment arrived in the town of Chores, where things were disappeared by mysteriously, and the magical trace led them to the cave, which hid the unraveling of the mystery. Angela excitedly and gently took the hero by her hand, and Alex smiled with her support. A gentle hair wreath stretched out of his hands, a magical amulet that had to protect against the magic even when falling, because the creation of such a thing required great effort. But the idea succeeded. The received gift was met with great gratitude, and promised to protect him as the most valuable thing. The gesture is shown to move on, immediately with a request to save this thing. Inside, the space opened much larger than Alex could imagine. The palm closed her nose from the smell, similar to hot springs, and the man was a gesture to be silent. Something mysterious was heard in front. The atmosphere of the cave pressed on all, but even the Minister was unable to overcome the Basiliska, which remained adamant. The spooky creatures were scared of everyone, so the hero advised to shoot a bow when it becomes quite dark, and then suggested that the basilisk use the magic of stone to the Minotaur. And NG approved this idea. The doubts did not leave whether everything was going on, but the hero with the sword in his hand was ready to stand up for. Departed from the monster, the hero noticed the disappearance of several things and was confused by their strange purpose. But first of all, it was necessary to stop the bachelors, otherwise the engine would work again. In order not to meet the look of Basilisk, Alex sharply attacked him from his back. Noises in the maze were forced to alert and notice the baby. The hero asks the stolen harvest, and the Minotaur thanks for the basilisk and claims that Alex deserves his every bone. With threats and an axe in his hands, the attacker promised to deal with all the locals, but did not have time to realize how his head was already cut off, and his body fell to the ground. Alex noted that if they intend to do something with people, it is not necessary to wait for mercy, but the hero did not understand why the miner to lure people, because it is easier to attack immediately. When the hero felt something wrong, he asked Angie to let him go, and the girl was happy, because everything was well with him. But Alex reported about the desire to look at him, which greatly frightened her. Suddenly, the soil stamped under Angie, but Alex quickly picked it up, and they cautiously fell to the ground. Far forward, the hero realized that he was in the dungeon, created not by nature, but by someone artificially. Waiting quickly gave the result. The wall began to give heat, and NG said frightenedly that there was something ahead. The incomprehensible creatures appeared before their eyes, and one of the votes jokingly said that they were causing them, which seemed fun to him. A strange man in a cloak and a hat with blue skin approached, not intending to let go of the baby, and called the time a river, where every wave destroys the previous one, causing fear and surprise in Angja. The thoughts about the content of the heart led to understanding. The previous mention concerned it. The creature, noticing confusion, clarified the reason and emphasized that the hero was not about to kill him, otherwise the city would attack. Alex immediately realized that this man was doing great, and said he was just delaying his time. Having said that in such situations, they usually uttered something misleading for confusion. He was about to give prey gradually, because everyone was already in his stomach, and the hero noticed tricks. The urgent call comes to be selected immediately, otherwise everyone will absorb the danger. At first, everything that was here had to be completely destroyed. Instead of complete destruction, the hero suggested that he simply seal the threat, though more effectively seemed more radical action, and Angie still hesitated whether it was the right decision. Alex and Angie concentrated all his strength. The hero warned Angie to be careful, and the girl took up his sword and agreed with his advice. Alex asked for the power of life and Philosopher's Stone to remove the cave to shine the bright light around. Unexpectedly, everything began to dissolve in the air, and it was very surprised by Angie. Around everything was gradually dissolved, disappearing from the field of view. Alex initially perceived the cave for the usual, but quickly realized that the whole mountain was a giant monster. He decided to report the city, and Angie promised to go to hot springs together. The resort town's seahorse met the heroes with a magic shop, where the woman at the entrance suggested touching a magical ball, and a red thread in the shape of a heart appeared between them. The smile illuminated her face when she confessed that there was extraordinary harmony between them. And though the cheeks were embarrassed, the genuine joy of understanding with Alex was obvious. It seemed that all problems arose only because Angie became his wife. The girl's offer to meet with Alex and other girls immediately found support from the hero. Walking through the street, the company saw two girls who glowed with joy, and it was at once that Angie drew the attention. Hot springs have an amazing effect that the boy was incredibly impressed. When the heroes managed to break part of the mountain, the woman reproached Alex that the rest remained intact. But the death of one of them really stunned everyone, and Alex promised to keep the situation under control. Grabbing the girl in his hands, the guy asked not to let him go, and immediately flew low above the ground. From the height, the appearance opened as the mountains gain life and come to life again. Alex explained Angie that it was only a mirage, and temporarily created a barrier in the form of the same mountain. Magic comes to life when the hero takes the sword in his hands, and it is at this moment that his strength increases due to his vulnerability. Not understanding the causes of the hero's act, the world observed how, thanks to the power of the hierarchian and philosophical stone, simple magic turns into a great majestic mountain. Seeing the object suddenly flashed, the angel was surprised in the place. Since ancient times, the keeper of the mountains has been able to revive even stone peaks, and he always directed his strength only to the creation of new things in the world. Nero explained that the magic would dissolve all over, and the next night everything would be as before. The magic of the great sage and luck sword accelerated the development of events, so he decided to take a small pebble in memory for the piper. The voice of the Eliza, who stood near the girls, forced the heroes to turn. Majesty suggested visiting hot springs to emphasize its beauty, and the angel whispers remembered that the water was full of magic there, and Xiaomi thanked Alex for the invitation. Alex noted that these clothes were very much. The girl thanked her for the compliment, and he suggested that she spend a good time together. She happily agreed. Hot springs immediately fascinated the girls with a pleasant aroma, and Eliza explained Angie that a towel was not needed here. The charming couple would relieve tension and give full rest. Waiting became unbearable, but Angie asked her sister not to rush and wait a little. The light cold of the water refreshed the skin of Xiaomi, and she with a smile noted how pleasantly it felt, adding that the beauty of Medj did not need any filters. Angie said that Alex would soon give everyone a yukata, and Alice decided that Angie was wearing the same outfit. Such things have worn for a long time, going to hot springs. In a dense fog, there was a distance between them again, which caused sadness and disappointment. The inquisitive look directs the hero with the question, what were the glasses? The girl was well aware of the court and reincarnation, and the hero immediately noticed it. Past actions influenced her current status, and after Alex put on his glasses, he immediately saw the rank of every person. Naomi wondered how cool it was, because she believed that Alex was now seeing her rank, and Alex thought that Naomi would also like to know her status, and it really was interested. Confidently holding on, the hero worried that the result would disappoint it, so raising status to Category A seemed appropriate. Thinking, he smiled at her and watched in silence. The future opened great opportunities for her, in which he was absolutely sure and could guarantee it. The gratitude for the words was sincere, and the idea that if Alexander herself said, it would be true, it became apparent. Surprisingly, the belief that humanity's savior from the Silver Plague could be the reincarnation of one of Sama S. Alex denied it, emphasizing, then humanity decreased by 10%. Only the real God would be able to prevent this catastrophe. The window of the Magical Academy Bal appeared in the window. It was there that the train stopped. The directory noticed a strange academy. White investigated the call techniques, but the connection with it disappeared a few days ago that it was very unusual for such an important institution. The situation seemed too serious, so the director asked Alex to check everything carefully, and he immediately agreed. There was silence near the academy, no traces of clashes. So the characters suggested that Xiaomi look further. Its discovery struck everyone. Suddenly, two giants appeared, real monsters who suddenly rushed to people, and Xiaomi immediately noticed it. Through his glasses, Alex watched the events closely, and when Xiaomi hurried to help, the hero gently asked her to stop and wait a little. At the end, it turned out that the creatures, which were considered monsters, were in fact people. The glasses allowed to immediately determine the soul of the rank S, which cannot become a monster, because all magical ways to change the body need preliminary preparation. The sword flashed in the hands of the hero. A few decisive blows, and the monster turned back into people, falling on the floor. Alex checked the pulse and became convinced that the person was breathing, and at that moment, Xiaomi noticed behind a dark, sinister energy. A suddenly unknown force grabbed the girl and pulled back. She screamed with fear, and the hero looked around immediately. It turns out that this huge monster has already caught Xiaomi. The Troton girl rushed to Alexis, but noticed with horror that she was replaced, and one young man asked the Shami to stay still. The monster buried in the ground under the cries, carrying the body of the girl and 2 more people. Naomi's soul returns to the body. Alex checks her condition, and the girl is surprised. She does not understand how he guessed who she really is. No doubt, it was easy to recognize Xiaomi. Tears shouted in the eyes of the girl. She hid her face in her palms and barely whispered that the hero was incredible. And he tried to understand why she was so moving his words. It seemed like Xiaomi is bad, but in fact she was just surprised. The guy assured her that he would always be near, because she had a special impact on him, and invited to discuss further plans together. Since ancient times, judges of rebirth have determined who the soul would become. People received the rank of TS. Divine creatures were considered angels or gods, and called evil animals monsters. The future strength and abilities depended on the rank, and Alex was convinced that this girl already accurately recognized him. Once a sorcerer invented a spell of curseal, which could change the body's body and monsters, and it was this word that was used for such magical exchange. Alex reflected whether the soul would remain the same if the body would change. The participants still received a higher rank than they had originally. A month later, people became the puppets of the Herschel, and this sorcerer, amazed at power, wanted to create an invincible army. The capture of the world turned into a tragedy when the catastrophe destroyed up to 10% of people on the planet. Thoughts about contemporary magic in the academy did not leave the girl's head. Herschel was probably used, because there were people who wanted to restore the silver plague among academics. All the students possessed magic. Many had high ranks, so they were considered the best candidates for the army. Delayed assistance can result in serious problems for students. Xiaomi immediately noticed the suspicious movement of the boy and felt his vigilant look. In the dark mantle stands an old man, firmly shrouded in heavy chains, from which he is dangerous. Seeing the old magical shackles on the hero said with pleasure, and the surprised old man did not understand how Alex anticipated everything in the morning, and revealed his secrets. Any attempt to use magic immediately ended with the fact that the hero was grabbed, and resistance did not make sense. He later realized that he had organized all his grandfather and asked not to worry. Around everything suddenly changed. The space began to spark and distort, as if the reality had lost its shape. The darkness swept around, and the mysterious voice praised Marcosius for leading the heroes into his mysterious shadow world. A strange creature with large angel wings appeared before her eyes, and it became clear immediately. This essence is no longer part of the human world. The old man confidently said that this was the true essence of Herschel, and immediately exchanged the angel for the student's body. Even after the change, the teacher remained the same that surprised everyone, and the academy with many students gave many opportunities for experiments, and his strength became even greater thanks to a new shell. The essence was stronger than the angels, and the old man said that only God himself can defeat this creature. Great glasses hinted at genuine kindness, but the hero was wondering when he lost his true human soul, and why the unusual angelic fire is burning in it. Alex heard cheering that everything would work out, should not worry. Nearby, the old man shouted to the march, which is too late. The order made clear, shed their blood here and right now. The mighty magical ray of the angel permeates the hero. Alex loses his glasses, trying to stop the blow. The old man's statement came loudly. They will not get out of here until someone falls. And in his opinion, the angel's accuracy, in his opinion, is to win over the weaker opponents. Security reliability prevailed among the heroes while the events were lightning, and in the meantime, someone thought to take advantage of this power to immediately seize power over the country. For the first time, Alex felt a force that neither Azal nor Astaroth goddess had. The sword of the hero took off in the air, and a powerful magic wave immediately clamped the angel, completely paralyzing his body. The impression was stunned by the old man. The angel fell nearby, and the hero admitted that he thought about the boy as who was the best even than the angel. On the floor of the academy lay an unconscious student with numerous burns on the body. Heard by old rumors about the vice inspector seemed to be an exaggeration, and a sudden acquaintance with an unusual phenomenon struck him. And the hero, meanwhile, remembered the moment of removal of the limiter that the old man was unknown. Magic is used to suck angelic power from a man, and now the student receives the same power. The amazed Naomi listened to how the hero confidently reported to the elimination of Herschel's influence. But it remained unknown that he conceived this old one in the future. A small creature was presented to the guy for careful examination. Herschel's spells instantly changed the body of the beetle and the angel. Armed with angel wings, the beast suddenly changed and became a completely different creature. At the same moment, as the souls changed in place, the angelic body fell without strength, and the beast immediately attacked the hero. It became more difficult to repel the blow. because the next attack was stronger than the previous one, and the hero felt it clearly. It is reported that the force of Herschel's actions increases depending on the nature of the person and the difference of ranks between the two persons. The monster reached the 3S rank and became extremely powerful, but the hero kept his attack and was able to discard the offensive. The maneuver had to impress the hero, so the person was confident in his effectiveness. Once in this situation, the person used a specific way of solving the problem. Using incredible power, the hero creates an adult body for himself. The girl with a smile activated her Magia, while the old man confidently recognized in the stranger his own homunculus, although she joked that he was in front of him by adult Alexander Suma. The small body fell to the ground, and an adult, holding a sword aimed at the enemy, reported that he now had a rank of 4. The loud laughter escaped from the old man, and he immediately stated that this man was never capable of such. The plan originated. Pick up the body of the hero, and turn to Marcus to help him fulfill. The sword of Alex dissected magical spells when he rapidly rolled into the front counter. Attack. A strong blow threw the beast back and he collided with the old man. The further path has an understanding that Herschel's magic really corresponds to the level of a strong magician. The battle ended. The angel of the consciousness, and got up, began to act consciously, so he returned. The leader of the enemies lost, and the mission was successfully fulfilled. The hero showed the old man and explained that he was in charge of the actions of the angel, but Alex had already removed the spell, felt safe and remembered a strange sense of external control, although the old man did not know at all. Sincere thanks to Alex became the biggest award for Alex, and his promise to help in the future added rest, because the main thing is now an angel is safe. After the victory over the leader, Alex suggested that Xiaomi find other teachers and students. I am sure that now they are no longer threatening. Xiaomi's hero returned and saw students with teachers already waking up and discussing what happened this night. Everyone remained intact. Alex returned the monsters to their places, after which everything calmed down. The attention of the crowd is chained to the vice inspector. People thank him, and the hero sincerely rejoices for the safety of all. Alex is approached by a respectable old man with a beard and expresses her gratitude for his help. The director of the Magical Academy has seen the pain personally, did not find the words of gratitude Alex, because thanks to him everyone escaped, although some events still aroused him. On the grass, a girl was unconscious. It immediately alarmed the manager. Everything around was silent when the hero noticed. There is a strange creature from the crystal. It looked unusual, a little creepy, but it did not cause fear or disgust. The glasses suggested that the girl came here from another dimension with them. Her rank remained a mystery, and inside a few different souls were combined inside. The mysterious souls remained a mystery, and the boy's gaze stopped on the philosophical stone. A strong desire to know the truth has pushed to ask the hero what happened. Alexi's sword lit a bright light when he used the magic of liberation, and the space around the dazzling glow. Many souls rose from the body, sincerely thanked the hero for salvation, and finally found the way home. Looking around in amazement, the girl heard the hero's explanation. The souls of the victims of the silver plague that remained here forever. No one can escape from the trap, which is why this crystal appeared. The angel gladly accepted tired people, suggested that together they would decide how their lives would be. For centuries, the suffering had to be endured, but eventually managed to obtain a well-deserved reward. The light smile of the angel and the word about the new status for the majority surprised the hero. He could not believe what he had just seen. It was not possible to solve this secret, although the souls reached the end of the way without hesitation. But the feeling of relief did not leave. There was a hot dispute behind his back. Everyone is convinced that the judges have fairly made, and now the whole country knows about this decision. The Empress knew about Lord Carlisle for a long time. Heroic actions made him respected and terrifying throughout the Empire, and Alex thanked her, remembering a special moment of meeting. Eliza told how she met him personally, and it convinced everyone in the sincerity of her words. Everyone believed that the appearance of a child would fill his life with new content. Thanks to hope, the country became stronger, and Eliza was convinced the hero really achieved changes for the better. From that moment, Eliza firmly decided to call him the father of the people. The amazed everyone looked at how the father of the people was born. Alex thanks the queen for his kindness, and later children with special talents appear in the country. Alexander Carlisle has left a mark in history forever. And now there are many strong organizations in the world, with the status of 3S rank. The night sky is almost black. Only one bright star glows and punches darkness, attracting Alex's gaze. General met Alex, congratulated his son-in-law, and when asked about cases, briefly answered that the events would unfold. The anticipation swept the girls, and it seemed that they were seeing pregnant women for the first time. The joy of what was seen was mixed with misunderstanding. Why did the general bring pregnant girls here at such an early term? However, he decided to take the opportunity that his son-in-law gave. The growth of fertility after the liberation of souls gave Hosen a chance to act. And Alex expected new souls and the appearance of Hosina with special eagerness. The bright light in the sky made the general think, was it not a bad sign? But the star was approaching quickly, and his anxiety was not in vain. Suddenly light broke out and a girl appeared from it. Looking at the hero, she shared his joy from meeting her father, which significantly embarrassed General and Alex. The girl wanted to find out the truth about the reincarnation of the soul into a person. And the angels confirmed it, saying that her rank was 2Ds. Among the 10 million, she got a special rank, and the angel sent her to a single place where a person could be reborn. It was necessary to become a child in someone's family again. She considered Alexander Carlyle as her father because she grew up with his daughter. The birth of Alex was a great joy for everyone, and his father sincerely congratulated him on the appearance of his granddaughter, considering it a real luck. Hearing the answer, the girl immediately hurried to Mia and Angie, trying to find out who would become her mother. But Alex suggested talking quietly about it in the room. In experienced eyes, the woman was curious when to expect grandchildren, and the hero calmly assured, time for paternity has not yet come. Despite the acceptable age, the guy decided that Angie would be his baby's mother. But since she was very young, I had to wait 10 years. In response to the proposal to wait 10 years, the offended girl gave her cheeks, because the whole century was waiting for the change to finally hear such a difficult answer. It became clear that this child is the soul of the victim of a silver tragedy, which in the past life deserved a high rank of 2S, so she received luxury and impatience from her status. It was impossible to change the situation, so he said that she would have to wait, and the girl noticed on the table sheet and immediately realized the letters look new. The number of people is constantly growing, and everyone understood it, but if so, there will be no land, food, education, and other important resources. A pleasant surprise swept the hero when he learned that his brothers were ready and continued to maintain a common cause. Alex wondered who this young man could be with such talents, and it was certain that even angels had already been legends about him. The girl did not pay attention, but when she found out that she was her baby, she immediately came and decided that he was special, and the hero sincerely thanked her for these words. Alex Neatly's thoughts appeared on the sheet and struck it with a beautiful and neat handwriting. Thoughts on whether they can improve handwriting in a new life did not leave it. Having thought, Alex tried to understand whether this girl really wanted change, because her past was full of pain and suffering. The gaze slid on the sword, the desire to learn how to write beautifully. A hand extended to the girl with an invitation to taste something new, and join at the table promised an interesting adventure. After getting acquainted with her handwriting, the hero was surprised by the explicit writer's talent, but the girl did not fully realize what he wanted to say. Alex suggested that the girl choose a new name that would symbolize wisdom and value, because this solution was of great importance for her new life. The girl thought, embarrassed, and suddenly blushing sharply in the air, and the hero, indifferent to the events, suddenly ran after her, trying to stop. Hands stopped on the verge. That is where everything should end. The gaze slid to the girl who plunged into melancholy. The guy called her. The promise to create a new body for her gave hope to change fate. Something left unclear to Carol. Although Alex could not have a baby now, he was still able to give her a new body. From the bag, the hero takes out materials for emergencies, combines them through magic, and creates an accurate copy of the right thing. The girl touched the body and realized that it was her own, and Alex explained, "It is her homunculus, which she can use, and he would take care of her until the time of degeneration." After the blessing, the hero thought that he could say something unnecessary, and doubted whether the girl could cope with it, because she had not had a physical body for a long time. Finally, it was decided to act, and the heroine moved her soul with the help of bright magic. The girl examines her hands carefully, for the first time in 100 years stands on the ground. Her body trembles slightly, her legs are disobedient, and Alex notices that she probably suffers from pain. The joy was overwhelmed by the girl. She jumped and exclaimed with happiness. The powerful blow of the luxury punched the ceiling. The power took it by surprise, and the hero stood nearby. The girl asked her father in surprise. Alex thought that when the soul of the rank ES2 was relocated to the body of the homunculus, the force becomes unmanaged, and over time, control over its own power was lost. Movement in this body became risky. The girl sneezed suddenly, and the floor seemed to explode by chaotic emissions. The powerful force struck both. The girl shuddered with fear, quietly muttered an apology, and called Alex timidly. She tried to escape, but the hero quickly grabbed her hand and asked her to stop, and her desire for freedom remained adamant, and this power deeply struck him. The warm compression of Alex has added confidence. He assured that nothing wrong would happen, and promised to teach to manage power so that they could be together. The tension was asleep. Carolina lowered her eyes and thanked her sincerely for his help. The powerful roar forced the general to be frightened, but he realized that such a reaction was expected from the daughter of a son-in-law. Tears in her eyes sincerely apologized for her act, and the hero gently reassured that all was well, and advised not to worry. In an effort to help the hero, Alex passes her bag and asks her to walk together the territory of the estate, because its presence near the destroyed sectors contributes to their restoration. Alex advised not to rush until the girl got used to her body, so she calmly took things away, agreed, and went satisfied. The general checked all the hole, because she often broke something. But even if a disaster happened, the hero would correct everything and reassure the general, so he decided not to worry. The girl was responsible for the case, and the event did not occur because of her fault. The general, with a smile, noted that she was very similar to her father. The hero's doubt was noticed by the general, who, laughing, noted that the hero did not expect to meet his child so quickly. Suddenly it became clear that NG never thought about this issue. In the dreams, Alex imagined her daughter growing happy, healthy, and living carelessly, wishing for her a bright and joyful life. The daughter of Jiro looked closely around, and asked her mother who was this dragon and why he was here. And Angie replied that he should train her medical skills on him. The magic had to be improved to overcome the evil, and the example of her mother's hard work was captured, because Angie very much wanted Alex to be proud of her. Warm hugs and words about true hard work were inspired by Angie, and a guy, frightened with a smile, calmly watched this sincere moment. Eliza emerged behind the trees, watching the events interested, and on Alexei it went unnoticed until she said she had just come. Earl's question about Eliza's person was embarrassed by the girl, and soon the hero officially presented her empress. Smiling, the empress reported that Alice Passes was at their disposal, and the girl did not suspect the influence of her father, being far from her homeland. The girl's smile became a real reward for him, when it turned out that Alex was a vice imperative, and she fascinated how she felt a new life in his home. The surprise engulfed Eliza when she remembered the moment that everyone was survived, and realized that although Alex seemed sincere, she is the best suited to the role of the daughter of the Empress. The look and the request not to develop the topic. The case lies in another, but after the conversation there is a good impression and curiosity to find out her name. Her name never came in memory, though she tried to remember. Alex thought the memory was erased, but in fact she just forgot the name. The confidence in the soon reborn reassured a girl who had already recognized her own mistake. And now only hesitation in the words of the hero suggested that Eliza was known to him. Alex said he could look into her soul and restore lost memories. The girl doubted this idea, but she was sure that he would handle. The girl quickly came to Alex, frankly demonstrating herself, and sincerely asked to look into her soul. He did not understand why she was so bold. Magic revealed to him the memories of the girl. The stranger apologized, explaining that only so could save her from suffering, and she reassured that he would withstand everything. A voice with the name of Alex came in the air. The girls who worried about him came to where he fell to the ground. The hero assured that everything was well with him, just surprised him a little, and he learned his name, San Sakrimif. It was this name in honor of the saint who saved the world from a silver disaster and called it. The news stunned people, causing a real shock, and the next day the hero came to Saris, where the local resident wanted to make sure that Alex really was going to hand him the land. Alex confidently said that this land belongs to them now, and if you plant beans, it will be possible to clearly mark the boundaries and protect the territory, for which the man sincerely thanked the hero. The question arose whether his father was like others, which Angie said aloud, but he did nothing unusual for himself that day. The smile appeared on his face, and then he said that Alex could have become even better. The girl was waiting for this moment because Angie had to convey to her important news. Growing up did not seem important to her. The baby remained inside. With interest in watching the girl's fun, the heroine asked to stay side by side, worrying for her, and in response and thanked, not wanting to look unhappy. Unexpectedly, the land under your feet crumbles, and San instantly loses control of its own. Pearl believed that her artificial body was specially created to withstand pain. Alex came to the rescue, asked if she was in order, and advised to call him immediately in case of danger, not stay alone with the problem. At the edge of the rock, the girl confidently assured Angie that she was fine with her, and then approached and quietly asked her mother to hurry. Though Angie did not quite understand her words, the girl's words helped Alex understand that she wanted to live without a hurry. And Angie gently supported her daughter and promised that everything would be the same as they agreed. Bursting into the room with Alex, the girl hoped to find her name quickly. During the study, the hero will find a simple and effective ritual that requires the girl's blood, and her DNA allows you to know the real name, and the girl realized the importance of this action. Thoughts about changes in appearance did not rest, because once Alex created this body with magic, but he reassured, everything formed only solar magic, and the face remained the same as in the past life. At a busy moment, the hero asked the girl to stay for a minute, and warned of the danger associated with her true name. The sound of this name always reassured it, helped to become softer, and over time it became a true blessing in character formation. The hero's beliefs. As soon as she finds a real name, real happiness will appear in her life, and everything around will play with new bright colors. Having announced that he would be even more obedient, the girl was all overwhelmed, and Alex never understood why she turned so brightly. Why try to like him if he can stay himself? The girl clenched his fists and said 3 times confidently that she did not agree. She never dared to pass his father. There was a parchment in her hands, which she stretched forward. The girl's magic created a special atmosphere, and Alex reflected whether she was experiencing real emotions, advising to keep this moment in memory and not call her real name a stranger. Sincere embrace with the hero gave the girl joy. She thanked her father for his support and promised not to reveal her name, and Alex carefully stopped her words, hoping for her happiness. A few days passed, and thoughts about the need to quickly write and publish a report before Astrov's return were not rest. The angel appeared Alex and said that time was exhausted, addressing him as the ruler of the virtue of the 3 Sss-Rank. But the hero replied that he had many more things, and asked the angel something. Alex has a long separation, so he wanted to find out how things were now. There was almost no leaving time because Alex understood well. They were watching them closely, and that is why he returned here after past events. Angels and humans have always helped each other in degeneration, but only God can know the real name of the soul. This truth was very surprised by the hero. The art allowed the accumulation of integrity every day, which increased the rank, and the body began to throb by force, similar to the divine. The destructive power could destroy an ordinary person, and if nothing is done, God could take the gift from the hero. The angel warned that there was only one way and asked about his defender. Reflections on the divine cause. The hero a sudden fear, and the angel explains that the excess force in the body creates problems, and only his own patron could take away his ability from the eyes of God. Alex finally understood everything, and the angel explained, a change in the name with the deity would solve the problem, but the hero considered it easier to erase memory, although for the angel it contrary to his good deeds. The good deeds of the hero gave hope for forgiveness, but the divine essence gave more chances for blessings, and therefore Alex, together with the angel, decided to act on his own. There was no choice. The help of the hero was the only way, and Alex did not understand what she meant. The angel informs Alexander Carlyle of a special divine gift that he now belongs to him. The order to remember that God can come at any time remains the last. The young man looked at his hands. There was no change. Only the angel said that his age would not change anymore. Now he is immortal. The force, almost equal to the divine, could over time conquer, and although it was impossible at once, the hero understood that by mastering it, he would gain a reliable protection, even if it seems in a vain business. The angel apologized to the important things, and when Alex wanted to talk further, the girl ran into the room and reported that the harvest in Asterophy began, and everyone needs to hurry. Thank you. The hero explained that he was already going to them, deciding to discuss everything with the angel personally, and the angel noted that the situation was interesting, and it was time to go to flight. It turned out that Lord Astoris from a mighty family, and the angel wondered how she could forget it, and Astoris himself unexpectedly learned about the true divine gift of the hero. She assured that she should not worry, because she had a divine gift. The angel said she had to fly immediately, otherwise she would be late, and the hero returned to her in confusion, not understanding the situation. Daryl expected a difficult adaptation after lifting to the rank of 3 ES, and getting the strength of the angel. But Alex was surprised that there was no sensation. Apparently, now he became immortal. Everything else has lost its importance, because the gift obtained became the main, and now the hero owned the divine power. Zero was certain that only the highest deities could have such force and achieve immortality, so the heroes had to act very carefully. The meeting with Mr. Alex caused joy to the peasants. They invited him to himself, and Eve, hidden between the trees, watched for everything that happened. Carol was not consistent with the hero. The suspicion was read in her eyes, and after careful observation, she guessed who Alex was, although his true intentions remained unclear. The sudden sharp turn of Alex made Angie to be alert. It seems that something unusual happened. A bright magical spark illuminated the evening, and a local resident announced a festive feast in honor of Alex and suggested that everyone take any things or food if necessary. In the northern village this year, a record harvest was harvested thanks to magic greenhouses and asteroid protection, so people sought help from Alex, who assured that everything would be fine. Edmund invited everyone to follow him in the room, and Alex reassured Angie, proposing to a snack, but she knew that he did not need food, because he was nourishing divine magic and could not eat for a long time. Once upon a time, the angel felt great changes in the body after the awakening of divine power, but could not explore the new energy due to lack of time and place. In the darkness of night silence, it is not possible to fall asleep. The look stubbornly stops on the ceiling. Angie's gaze showed that she had already hugged a peaceful dream. A peaceful dream enveloped her. The hero did not disturb the peace, because he also wanted to relax. Although the things were waiting, I put everything for tomorrow. Closing her eyes, the magical force made the sword immediately grasp the sword, and reflecting the attack, suddenly notices the mysterious girl who appeared in front of him. Awareness of who the girl was did not prevent the hero from to be surprised when Angie was frightened of bed. He decided that she was a murderer, but her words about Carlu's death were given a baby in her. He tried to find out who hired her and at the same time evaded her blows. The master warned that if he was not destroyed, the harvest would deteriorate and the stalks would end, so she demanded to surrender, and Alex asked Angie to stand near him, believing that her cases had been completed. The girl rejected the girl from the second eye, the color of which was different, and calmly informed Alex about his inevitable end. The magic of philosophical stone fills in the eyes of Alex, and the girl confidently says that this time he will not avoid death. The swords faced a direct fight, and the girl wondered why magic did not work until the hero calmly explained. His spell neutralized energy, and the power gave a real human power. Realizing that he could not win, the girl tried to escape, but Alex caught her hand and warned that the magic in her eyes disappears, and soon she would completely lose power. She reminded her to stop because the priorities were wrong and demanded an immediate change of action. The sword fell deftly to the ground. The girl looked at the master in confusion and did not understand why he demanded it, but could not believe that he could be wrong. The appointment was fulfilled, and after the loss of magic, the girl was confused and did not know what to do next, while the guy felt that her words had already sounded in his past. The awareness of his vocation did not frighten, although the excessive power of magic threatened life. But the order of the master remained the main and did not arise. Before Alex had time to ask her master, the girl suddenly rushed to the window and, breaking the glass, fell out. It became clear through the window that the escape succeeded. The mysterious girl moved away and disappeared from view. Alex did not fulfill the task, but he was convinced that she would come back, because he felt her inner strength and hoped for the right choice until her goal. Not strangers remained. It was necessary to act immediately. The next day, the girl made his determination into the hero's house, penetrating his room through the window. Alex gladly met her, invited her to the house, and showed that no one else was there, though she thought that there was another girl there. The aristocratic appearance of the young man immediately aroused her suspicion of his greed and fornication, although the hero noted that it was only a stereotype, and probably her mentor had already said like that. The mentor warned Angie to be cautious and not trust the promises, because he suspected that she had been forced to the hero. But the hero himself was convinced of her decision. The constant smile on her face gave the impression that happiness always accompanies her. Alex approaches the girl, gives a warm smile, and she understands. It is enough to allow herself to smile in response to make everything easier. The special shine on her cheeks immediately attracted attention, and the cheerful laughter had unusual power. Alex was convinced that his attractiveness did not leave anyone indifferent. The girl, having received his freedom, gives him a gentle smile. The incredible attractiveness of the girl forced Alex to offer to meet again, and she, a little embarrassed, decided to clarify what he meant. Warned, be careful with the eye. Even after neutralization, the mechanism is still dangerous. Alex has always reminded that the smile makes it stronger than any magic, so it is important to remember it daily. A bright smile illuminated the girl. She warmly thanked Alex and, unnoticed for all, disappeared from her eyes. The words of gratitude of the peasants were almost lost when Alex promised to return a year later and said goodbye to Ange. A wonderful day ended. It's time to go home. But NG worried about the baby. Alex explained that he found a sorcerer and tracks the baby due to his spell, so you do not need to worry. Warm hugs over the shoulders and a request to restrain the return home. But suddenly the bright flash of light took them both. The mysterious baby came to Carlile's estate and looked closely at the window of the house. Through the open window, a stranger entered the house of Alex, and the hero immediately noticed her appearance. She explained that otherwise she could not get here. Alex has the desire to find out how her name is. Carol called herself Dorothy, and the hero realized that the name gave her a mentor, because she remembered as much as she remembered it. And Alex considered this name very sweet. For apology, the man grabbed a girl by her head. She had to return immediately so that the master would not get angry, causing the young man to be alarmed. The stone in Dorothy had a shade of her eyes. The girl confessed that the master gave her this stone and ordered to kill the hero, so she was forced to fulfill his will. The stone was already hanging in the air, as suddenly the body of Dorothy instantly turned into a huge, strong wolf. Ancient believed that stones could change the body, because the philosopher's stone also had a similar power, and it seemed incredible. Unexpectedly, a giant paw, similar to a cloud, flies towards the hero. A mysterious creature is rapidly attacking. Instantly grabbing the sword, he quickly realized the spell should be removed immediately from Dorothy. Otherwise, it will become deadly for her. The charming stones changed people to the monster, so it was necessary to save them immediately, but it remained a mystery. Why the mentor turned his student at the beast. The girl's bright smile gave hope. The hero realized that salvation was possible and death was not the only way out. He asks Dorothy to help save the girl to give her a second chance for life. Based on the power of the sword, the hero decided to influence the shell, believing that it would surely lead to success. The hero moved his soul to a new body, and Dorothy slowly opened his eyes, and Alex immediately asked for care, or she was well. Seeing her naked, the man decided that she was seduced by another, but the hero confidently denied the opinion. The situation became critical. Dorothy could not have time to return to her master. It seemed that the owner just uses it for her purposes, hoping that she would die for his plan. But the girl understood it and wanted to finish the case, although the hero was convinced that it was impossible. The hero decided to protect her from danger because he knew, if the girl loses hope, he never feels true joy and will all end sad for her. The light hand lay on Dorothy's shoulder, and although she did not understand such anxiety, without that touch, her smile could disappear, and he dreamed of seeing her happy. He tried his best to delight Dorothy, but wanted to see her activity and sincere response, so he was especially waiting for her to express her opinion. The cheeks were filled with a blush. There was hope in thought. The protective barrier of the heart began to melt, and this idea was extremely attractive. Visits to Master Dorothy brought relief. He acknowledged that the girl worked for many years and deserved freedom, which was very pleased with the hero. Trying to stop Alex, the master prepared for everything, but the hero quietly promised to deal with the situation on his own, and not to worry about anything. Unexpectedly, everything around the master has changed, and the angel explained that they are now in the world after death. Angel suggested that Mr. Chrissy Fadu look at her carefully and listen to her every word, although the master did not understand what she did. The puzzled bastard looked around, and the angel noticed a strange sign on her husband, and alerted. And the master, remembering Rangi, thought that he could pass a deadly test. The angel said that for his actions in this life, a pig or a cow would be born in the next. And this idea seemed strangely attractive to him. The owner strictly ordered her to silence because he did not even want to think of death. And during the holiday, the angel stressed that he needed to make the right choice in the future. The master asked to stop. The angel said Alexei that her mission was fulfilled. He thanked her for his help with her soul and asked for an unexpected request to come. The girl confidently said that she was always ready to help the hero. And Alex gave her paper with the signature of the mentor, explaining, now, this document was lost, and she was free. It seemed to him that she was conquered by the man who was able to awaken a special feeling in her chin. Although the man did not understand her words, and never did so. Alex woke up in bed. Angie wished him a good morning, and in the meantime, the room heard a voice calling on Carlyle. An unexpected meeting with Dorothy prompted the hero to ask how her night passed, and he was surprised when the girl told that she had a great sleep on a dark and close attic, despite dust and darkness. Life in this room became a habit for her, and the hero noticed how she was hesitant to accept changes. Perhaps the fear of the unknown did not allow her to dare to freedom. To accurately determine the rank and level of magical abilities after the past hiring, the hero decided to conduct a magical test. Reporting that he wanted to train Angie and check her magic, he invited to join. But Dorothy, though interesting, had to refuse because she could not appear in the light strictly. With great desire, he dreamed of training with her, but the master did not allow her to appear in the afternoon. So the hero thought, suddenly changing the habits she had been following for a long time would not be easy. Sharing the plan, the hero asked the girl to wait and promised to return soon. The sword, made of scales and claws of the monster, which bears evil, Alex strengthened a drop of his blood and solemnly conveyed to her, explaining its origin and magical power. The sword struck Gerald with his beauty. She delicately took it and asked to leave to herself. The hero gladly agreed and suggested to check the weapon in action. Dorothy successfully got rid of the shadow of the hero, completely cutting off her. The smile of the hero and the word about the shadow as a totem space opened the path to training, where with the help of philosophical stone, she was in the light, endless space. Dorothy believes that training in dark space is quite possible, and even without daylight, such an idea seems great. The invitation was heard at the moment when everyone was waiting for them. Studying the magic, the girl tested magic on Alexei. The hero noticed her progress, but the forces remained weak, and the dark color of magic remained a mystery, which took a lot of effort. From the thick shadows of the land, Dorothy suddenly appeared from the earth as if it were back from the darkness. The appearance from the ground was embarrassed by Angie, but near Dorothy was calm. So hesitated, Angie wondered about the reality of everything, and Dorothy advised to check her own. At this point, Alexei was sleeping with a new idea. Checking Hercial remnants in her body could explain the instability of magic, because this exchange magic combines force of shadows that can change their properties and influence the shadow. Everything looked simple, but if the situation suddenly turned out to be hierarchical, there is a risk of losing magic forever. Taking her hands, she assured, "Everything will be fine. Alex will quickly find the cause of the problem and do not even have to use the magic of recovery, so you should not worry." The view of the hero met her. The guy convinced that there were no reasons for excitement, because her magic is already strong. It is almost impossible to lose his ability. The hero asked to trust him with a smile. Inside Dorothy, it became brighter when she understands. Water has the power not only to refresh in the shade, but also to give energy in the sun. Lamity calls the hero for battle, asks for his readiness, and he confidently replies that he is ready to fight. A shadow appears under her feet. A Dorothy shines in it. The hero says to bring a girl to a representative, and throws a stone into her hands. The object was intensified and increased, and the hero had one decisive idea. At first he planned to strengthen his forces, then let them go and strike. But the magical properties mixed and changed each other. The protagonist tried to take advantage of Dorothy's eye, but the girl explained that her whole strength was imprisoned in this eye. Herschel was hiding here, keeping her strength in the eye. It enabled her to control the shadow energy, but a weak margin of magic forced her to look for a balance. Dorothy became interested in this, and learned that the gift would discover new knowledge. A sincere smile flashed between Dorothy and the girl, and the guy noticed it. The presence nearby seemed to them so clear that they decided these were angels. Surprising the late call, the angel thought why the hero asked her to look into Dorothy's soul, though he could do it himself. But he was afraid to miss the moment to help and insisted on her participation. Awareness of the mistake made it clear that trust could disappear, and the angel warned, "It is dangerous even now." Once every return here brought fun adventures with friends. They swim together in the lake and notice people with a deep, shrewd look. Earlier, thieves often stole clothes, so angels and friends caught them and used magic for the lesson. These adventures were mentioned with warmth, although then left such dangerous fun. The angel carefully took the knife, apologized, and began to cut the shadow of the hero, then went into his space calmly. The open space around surprised her, and greeted Dorothy's gaze. She was quietly apologizing for an unexpected visit, and gently touching her face. The help of Angel opened the truth. Dorothy appeared with the morning. Kersey still found her, brought up a mercenary, and she learned to erase other people's memories. The angel explained that Dorothy intentionally deprived of heavy memories to purify her soul, and this process was called purification. Visual advises Dorothy to accept his shadow and find Alex's magic to learn how to control herself and become stronger, because her pure soul will help to go through an internal purification that has happened unexpectedly. The power of Dorothy's magic gave hope for major changes, but suddenly Angel stopped Alex and asked to wait a little. Cleaning the soul and preserving, completely different things explained to them, and it could not break the laws of the Creator. And although magic did not manifest itself, the angel hoped that everything would cost. Realizing everything, Alex completed his mission of the angel. The door in space suddenly refused to open before the angel, and although it was easy before, now she confessed in surprise to the hero that she could no longer leave that place. The picture showed that after getting acquainted with them, everything changed, though she did not believe that it was true and did not try to look for the perpetrators. When the magical door opened, Felix suggested that the angel pass through them, being sure that his plan would now work. Increasing the rank of the hero was surprised, because earlier her own rank was too low to overcome the last doors, but now this problem has disappeared with a new level. The reasons for the act of the hero have remained unclear, but her help was always useful, and before, and now, and the angel constantly repeated that helping is a big deal. The joy overflowed the heart, finally increased, and eternity will no longer pass among the usual trails. Alex kept the words and helped when it was needed. The test day was a moment when Amelia realized that it is necessary to stay in the shade, and the hero assured that they would test her skill and make sure of her strength. It was important to understand how Amelia had got her abilities, because it seemed that she could have borrowed a stranger. But the knife, which cut the shadow without magic, had to confirm her true power. The one who received the shadow could use other people's abilities, but only the owner of the shadows fully managed it and conquered others. The hero reflects any spell back to their owner. The pleasant surprise and delight were filled with Amelia, but she doubted her own benefit, although Alex assured that her magic was helping where simple skills are already powerless. It was the experience and knowledge that helped the hero to decide that Amelia would join their team, and for this all sincerely thanked, and tears of joy shone in her eyes. Slightly leaning her head, she suggested that Alexiou use her forces, and the hero said that he only needed to lend them temporarily, not to use them. The shadow attracted the attention of Maid, and Alex immediately asked if everything was fine with her. She fled to Daddy, reminding him of his promise to lead her with her mother to the city. Watching Amelia partially disappears in the shadow of Alex, the girl wondered her occupation, and received the answer that Amelia was helping Alex. The shadow really belonged to him. The guy hurried into the shadow, deciding to help the girl's father, and did it faster than the hero had time to stop him. Finally, the dark shadow of this trip covered Amelia, and there was a San, the soul that has now become like a daughter, and in the past it has already saved many. He understands all the features of Sansa's strength. The question was whether she could support Amelia, and if Amelia would have adopted such assistance. In this situation, Alex advised to work together how to proceed. Alex has an idea that new talents could develop Amelia. The pleasant surprise was engulfed by Rai. When everything turned out exactly as planned, Amelia was filled with energy, and it became clear. The strength of the sand was truly sacred. Alex gave an Amelia signal to leave, and when she appeared from the shadow, the man thanked her for his help, emphasizing that her abilities had struck him very much. The deep sadness did not leave Amelia, but after the hero's question she assured that everything was normal with her, although in fact something worried her. The shadow prevailed the incredible heat that gave real pleasure, and San confessed to Dad that the heart almost jumped out of happiness, although Dorothy reacted quite differently. The Bureau decided that the main thing, all goals, the situation is not critical, although the magic of recovery could be applied, but Sam could not, and Alex suggested first to wait. The magic of recovery enveloped the girls, and they immediately shone with a bright, unusual light. Suddenly, Amelia struck around Amelia. She felt true freshness and renewal. The power of the sand healed the hero, filling it with energy. This sacred power has long been considered special. The surprise and capture of everyone. Amelia considered it extremely steep, and the sand now saw the true power of a girl who did not even suspect her magical possibilities. A quarrel broke out in the maid room. One girl hardly claims that Amelia with Alex, and Amelia shares that she is cozy and calm as never before. The cheeks played red, and the girl confessed that she suddenly fell in love. Everyone wanted to know their opinion, but Amelia was not sure whether it was really important to them. In the eyes of Wada, there is a true interest. He also dreams of seeing Mr. Alex Sam. The unexpected request was surprised by Alex, and when he realized that it was about his shadow, the maid immediately began to be asked. The atmosphere changed. Amelia smiled more often and embarrassed, catching the view of Alex, who reacted calmly, although everyone understood it was a reason. Finally, the girls were happy. They jumped happily with happiness. Since then, the maid in turn visited the shadow of Alex, filled it with energy, and became more active, enthusiastically removing and maintaining the perfect order in the house. Lord Miller's visit became an unexpected surprise. He also sincerely asked the hero's affairs. Seeing Lord, Alex was surprised and asked for the cause of his visit, and Lord Miller thanked the maid for his help and let her go before starting his questions. On the soft sofa, Lord wondered, acknowledging that the diligence of that girl made a strong impression on him. Probably he had already met with Amelia. It was important for Lord to check whether the rumors were lying, but the hero did not know about the true purpose of such questioning. The maid Carlyle often showed special affection for their owner, and everyone was certain that the thing was not only in appearance, but also in the warm attitude of Lord to people, with which Alex fully agreed. The man believed that his actions were not special. It was all thanks to Amelia, and Lord agreed, praising the decent maid, while Miller was fond of tea and noted that his girlfriend was too modest. Alex wondered why the Lord taught humility, because he himself believed that true virtue was to use his abilities, and to ignore them in vain. The view, on the other hand, opened the new sides of the truth, although the insincerity still left the mark. And in the meantime, the Lord decided to take several maids for a short time without delaying the decision.